Its U.S. credit rating's been downgraded, but Digby doesn't give a damn. Ain't that right, Digby? You don't give a flying do you?
The Onion solemnly bids farewell to the 22 crew members who perished during the production of today's Week in Review. You will be missed. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. All you gotta do is dial in toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We were discussing last night on this very program. Aria, you were leading the show last night, and we were talking about some economic stuff and discussing how we're probably just barely seeing the beginning of the economic destruction that is to come. And I think what precipitated that conversation was the proposal by the Washington Post editorial board to say that they want to see a total crackdown with 90% plus of people being forced to stay home, including farm workers
and healthcare workers,
truckers. So they basically want people to start killing and eating one another because I'm not sure how exactly they think food is going to get onto people's tables if you shut down the supply lines.
If you did 2 weeks of just total
shutdown. They want like 2 months.
I don't know how you would do that.
They say it's going to be painful economically, but then we can go back to normal after that, they say.
Well,
it's ridiculous. Normal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I tend to wonder. I mean, they say the incubation period of this stuff is, probably closer to 5 days than 14. But if you did 14 days where nobody's allowed to go out of their house, then presumably you'd be pretty well off. I mean, most people would know at that point whether they had this or not.
Yeah, the issue is that most people can't and won't stay at home for 14 days.
No.
I won't.
I'm not interested.
Well, if they wanted to, they could do like some kind of, we're suspending law. Good luck with murder out there because we're not enforcing it. Cops are staying home.
By the way, in the studio tonight, you got Ian here.
Aria?
And Mark.
So, that's what they were talking about was a total crackdown, as though there wasn't enough economic destruction already.
And you wonder what the reason is. I've been looking at the death chart, anybody knows.
The reason's total control. I mean, they want to see what they can get away with.
I tend to think you're right.
But Mark wants to talk about his graph.
I love that graph. And that graph clearly indicates that the peak deaths were in the middle of April. And it's not even close what's going on in the end of June.
Well, now all they talk about are the cases.
I understand they're talking about cases.
That's all they talk about.
Best I can tell,
that doesn't mean they're talking about deaths. They're talking about cases.
Right. And best I can tell, people are, for whatever reason, we have better treatments, or people are surviving more, or the virus has changed.
People were surviving it before.
Well, some of them weren't.
Well, the issue now
people and obese people.
The lockdown has lifted largely in a lot of places, so you got more young people going out, and they're far more likely to survive. So obviously, yes, they would become more likely to get infected, and they would also be less likely to die. So the death rate per infection would go down.
Yeah. Well, if you were seeing, so this kind of numbers we've been seeing as far as deaths go over the course of June and maybe even into May.
Before you go on, you're seeing more people being tested now, likely, right? Because there's a lot more requirements of testing in order to go back to work, or in case of Massachusetts now, just to go to Massachusetts as of Saturday. So there's a bunch more testing going on as well. Whereas before, if you contracted this and beat it, then that's it. Or you wouldn't even know in some cases. Some people contract it, they beat it, and they don't even have any symptoms or anything like that. So those folks aren't going to go in to get tested unless they're mandated to get tested. Now more of that's happening.
Yeah, so these deaths that are occurring in parts of May and June, and at this point we have pretty good numbers. So we know how many people died generally throughout May and June of this year.
How many of them actually died from COVID is a whole other question.
It doesn't make a difference. What I'm saying is that the amount of deaths are the same as the deaths in January attributed to the flu. I mean, none of these numbers are... Yes.
Okay.
Right?
I thought there were more deaths from COVID than there were the flu. this year. No?
I'm not saying there isn't, but they were almost entirely clustered in April. When Cuomo sent when it was all going through New Jersey and Connecticut and New York, and Cuomo sent those old people to die in those nursing homes and all that stuff. But of course, this is Trump's fault.
So we also talked about the bailout proposal that apparently passed. Was it the Senate? Do you recall?
I think it was the Senate.
One of them. And so by no means is this over with. They're probably going to pile on some more, pork and throw in some extra trillions.
It's only $1 trillion.
Yeah, only $1 trillion to start.
That's nothing.
But here's an update on what's been going on with the airline industry, because we had discussed.
Now the airlines really got hit. And a lot of people are going to ask themselves whether they want to fly tightly packed in metal tubes through the air, breathing the same air as everybody else on the metal tube.
It's not uncommon in the past for people to catch an illness while they were on an airline.
Every
right?
time for me.
That's not uncommon.
It used to be.
But now people are afraid of it more than they used to be.
Yeah.
And irrationally so, in my opinion. But regardless, that's where we are. And now with multiple airlines mandating masks on and even refusing to allow people with medical exemptions, just basically telling those people to screw off. They don't want their business anymore. And that was what American Airlines and Southwest recently announced.
Delta turned around a flight. I think it was today.
Jesus.
Because someone took off their mask.
I think it was more than
insane.
one. I think it was several people that and refused. But yeah, turn around mid-flight.
Wow.
We're going back then.
That's lunacy.
It is. Because the damage is already done at that point. Whatever damage there would have been.
No one can get to their destination on time. I mean, look, if you want to ban somebody from the flight, then ban them from that point on. All right, sorry, we're not going to serve you anymore. You got a connecting flight? Well, sorry, get a cab home.
Yep.
They could have done something to those people without punishing the rest of the flight.
But
That's
see,
ridiculous.
by doing this, they were able to make the mask wearers even more resentful.
Sure. Yeah,
and even more presenting animosity toward the people who weren't wearing the mask.
Also,
because now the people not wearing the mask actually cost them something tangible.
Yeah. Right. And the same old thing where the big faceless corporation or government doesn't take any responsibility for its action, but the individual who stands up to them. Not to say that this person got on the flight, they should be wearing a mask if they agreed to wear a mask. But, either way, I'm not going to if Delta decided to turn the flight around, Delta decided to turn the flight around.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody got a refund for that, because that's what I would be demanding if the airline just decided they were going to go in the reverse direction and go back to where they started from because they didn't like what somebody did with their mask.
I sincerely doubt anyone got a refund.
Right.
No, probably not a refund, but they probably will get their flight rescheduled and all that, because it is the airline's fault.
I hope you weren't going somewhere on time.
You weren't going to a wedding or a funeral.
Most people, when they're flying somewhere, need to be where they're flying.
Yeah, but a refund isn't going to do anything for you. If you paid $300...
It sure will. It'll make you feel a little bit better because you get your money back. You get a free flight and you get the refund. Reuters reporting that a majority of U.S. House of Representatives peoples signed a letter made public on Monday calling for a 6-month extension of a $32 billion payroll aid program they argue is crucial to keeping hundreds of thousands of aviation workers employed through March 31st. Quote, without an extension of the payroll support program before then, hundreds of thousands of airline workers will be fired or furloughed on October 1st. The lawmakers wrote. The letter, led by House Transportation Committee Chairman Peter DeFazio, was signed by 223 House members, including 195 Democrats and 28 Republicans. The lawmakers said that without action, the layoffs, quote, will eclipse those of any furloughs that the industry has ever seen. The payroll program is set to expire September 30th. So we talked about this. I think within the last 2 weeks, we discussed the $25 billion in payroll assistance, and that's what they get to here to the U.S. passenger airlines was given to them in March. So, remember the CARES Act was what I think they called it, where they threw a bunch, trillion or $2 trillion or whatever it was at various different people. You got like $1,200 maybe, but the airlines got $25 billion.
Yeah.
And the idea at the time was, I
was curious how that stacked up to the amount of money that the American people got, and assuming that every single one of the 320 million Americans actually received a $1,200 check, it's still significantly more to the American people. So there is that. Yeah, it comes out to like 380 something billion.
But one of the differences, of course, is when the government gives a company a bailout, then there's frequently some strings attached. Right, so one of the strings might be you have to require masks for all your customers.
Well, they're already doing that.
I know that, but maybe that's one of the reasons why. Maybe there was some terms in there about things that they have to do. And, of course, remember the car bailouts, the car manufacturer bailouts from like a decade ago, GM and those other companies that got them? Well, there were terms associated with that. If I recall correctly, the federal government got a piece of some of the action, did they not?
They did.
Yeah. More coming up here in moments, so get ready for the feds to own the airlines.
News from Bitcoin.com. Twitter hacked, Bitcoin blamed. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace will soon have a Bitcoin logo on his car. Banks will make $18 billion in fees on COVID-19 relief funds. Bitcoin Cash still lets you control your own money. PayPal confirms it's developing cryptocurrency capabilities while still shutting down accounts of crypto users. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to their channel on YouTube. Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward Liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the Liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com.
Ancestry, the global leader in family history and consumer genomics, released results of a survey commissioned to understand how consumers viewed their health risks during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to results, almost half of all Americans and nearly 50% of parents said the COVID-19 pandemic has increased their interest in understanding their possible genetic health risks. Dr. Ron Park, Executive Vice President of Health and DNA at Ancestry.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made clear to many people the importance of taking proactive actions to protect their health and their family's health. The survey shows that this applies to not only concerns specific to COVID-19, but also other health issues such as genetic risks.
Ancestry Health, launched last year to increase access to personalized preventive health care, will soon be powered by next-generation sequencing, an advanced technology that provides a comprehensive analysis of inherited health risks. Visit ancestry.com/health.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free here, 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And you can join us in there. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with you tonight. It's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
We've been talking about the next proposed bailout for the airlines. $25 billion wasn't enough because, well, they I guess the thought was that the $25 billion was just going to get them through the COVID thing. It was only going to be 2 weeks, so we'll get you through it. Well, now it turns out people aren't really traveling very much at all. And so the even though the curve was flattened or whatever, the business is still way down, and so they want another bailout, and that's what they're bellying up at the trough for.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's difficult to look at this because you can't look at it scientifically. What we can't say is what would have happened to airlines in the absence of any government intervention in the marketplace surrounding COVID. So
it looks like people would have just stopped flying.
They probably would have, which would have been terrible for the airlines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not running on big margins, and some airlines would have gone out of business. And
the tragedy is like losing a bank. The bank went out of business.
The more airlines there are, the lower the prices of airfare, and that benefits us all.
Yeah, you will likely see some consolidation as these airlines go out of business. So you're going to see. The
airplanes are going somewhere.
This is going on for years, right? Yep. Where Delta buys whatever the hell they bought.
United isn't called United for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
United is called United because it is the combination of previous airlines.
Right.
And, that's been true for all of the major ones that have been, sucking up smaller ones and these kind of things. And Southwest really came on and sort of changed the game. But nonetheless, I'm just kind of... On one hand, I feel bad for the airlines because the government basically said, okay, you can't fly, or if you do fly, you have to do it under these circumstances and a variety of things. I was flying, had to make some flights during March and April of this year, and I literally was on a 747 coming from Tokyo to Reagan or Dulles, I'm not sure, to Washington, and we had for ourselves entire rows. I don't mean like the 3 seats that we were sitting in. My wife, my son, and I had the entire stretch across the 747. That's 3 seats on one side, 4 seats in the middle, and the 3 seats on the other side where there was nobody. And I couldn't even tell you how many passengers were on. It might have been that we would have had 2 rows each.
Plus, there were certain regulations, I believe, that were requiring flights, even though no one was on them, simply because the airlines had to fly a certain number of flights in or out of an given airport in order to keep their spot in the terminal.
Yeah.
So they had to keep flying, even though it was not economically viable to do so.
Well, who owns the airports themselves?
Governments.
That's what I would assume.
In a lot
Most
of cases,
of them.
it's local governments. In a lot of cases.
So now the proposal, and this was voted on by the U.S. House and voted in favor, to bail them out to the tune of another $35 billion. So it's not done yet, right? At least it has to go through the Senate and all that. But so this is after the initial $25 billion. Senate Republicans Monday introduced a proposal to address new coronavirus needs, but did not include new airline payroll funding. More than a dozen aviation unions applauded the letter written by the House members, saying, quote, Congress has the power to ensure airline workers will continue to stay on payroll and keep aviation workers ready to turn the industry around once this crisis is behind us. But when exactly is that going to be? And
if they're not offering a service to people, like, flying them from one place to another, then they shouldn't be in business. I mean, this is like giving money to the school system all over again. It's like, we're not even going to open up the schools. It's not a service anyone can use, but we're going to continue. We're going to increase the amount of money that we're giving to the school system. And it's the same crap here. We're not going to offer any flights or even allow you to leave the country. However, we're going to make sure that you're being robbed to pay for these people whose job it is to help you fly across the country.
Well, the politicians want you to believe that this is an essential business. And the question
is, if it's essential, it will be rebuilt after this.
That's a good point. And the question is, what is it going to look like once they're saying here, once the crisis is behind us. Well, so far, it doesn't appear that any of these government people want to even consider that as even coming close, right? Because we're seeing re-crackdowns. There's more crackdowns happening. We just, off the air, we're looking at a story about Massachusetts telling everybody who comes to Massachusetts now they got to quarantine or prove that they've had a test that shows that they are negative. We're seeing more of these mask mandates all across the United States. Businesses are now coming on board. So it sure doesn't feel like things are slowing down, even though fewer people are dying than ever before. The tyranny is as heavy, if not heavier, than it has been over the past 5 months. And so let's just say that we make it to this magical point, because they're talking about 20 or 35 billion more, and they think that that's going to last until March 31st. Okay, so March 31st comes around, and by whatever miracle, the government goons have decided that they're gonna lay off. They're gonna ratchet back all the controls, and we're gonna have things going back to so-called normal. But by this point, we're talking about an entire year, more than a year of people living in the so-called new normal. How many of those people are going to be like, all right, let's go on a vacation and get on an airplane? Because as you were talking about before, there's a lot of people who are now deathly afraid of getting on airplanes. So what percentage of their business is just going to come rushing back if all of a sudden now it's normal again?
Well, remember at 9/11, the air traffic just dropped off, and it didn't come back for a long time.
Right, and that was just fear of some guy, blowing the plane up.
Right, and honestly, it was really sort of a weird fear, because the hijackers in 9/11 hijacked the plane with box cutters because nobody thought that anything bad was going to happen. I'll bet you that if you tried to hijack a plane with box cutters in America these days,
you'll get taken down.
Yeah, you might get your arms broken or get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
They did kill one passenger, that was a mentally ill man, a couple of years after 9/11.
Didn't they like squish his trachea or something?
Yeah,
like
he squeezed the breath out of him, basically.
So airlines say they are not actively seeking additional federal assistance, but would accept funding without additional requirements. When the first package was approved, large U.S. airlines hoped for a recovery in demand by October, but as the virus has accelerated, airline executives warned that demand that had shown signs of recovering was stalling again, threatening jobs. Between American and United Airlines, more than 60,000 frontline workers have received warnings that their jobs are on the line as of October 1st. Mass airline layoffs could take place just over a month before the 2020 presidential and congressional elections. So it's still a little up in the air right now as to whether or not this next bailout's going to go through. But I mean, this seems like, from the politicians' perspective, it's going to be hard for them to oppose this. It's going to seem like, oh, well, this is an essential business.
Sure, but none of this would have happened. The problem would have solved itself because people were getting like $50 flights from, Los Angeles to Colorado or whatever, and then flying back the next day because it was so cheap to do that.
Is it still cheap now?
No, you can't fly now.
You can't even fly?
I imagine you can, and I imagine it probably is pretty cheap. But
they're still having flights. I've seen photos.
I'm going next week to Dallas.
Yeah. Carlos, who was here yesterday, he was flying, and he said 100% all of the people on these flights were wearing masks the entire time. 855, 450 free. He also said New Hampshire's the only place he's been to on his journey so far where there's like any semblance of sanity.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. Survivalspeech.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
And I still swore to the Commander-in-Chief.
What oath is higher
I'm not
to
going to
you?
stand up and go AWOL because, I don't believe
Well,
in
wait,
what's
nobody
going
said
on
you
or
had to go
whatever.
AWOL. Did you swear 2 oaths, one to the Commander-in-Chief and then one to the Constitution?
You swear one to the Constitution as your Commander-in-Chief as your executive order.
Which part of the oath is the priority? Is it upholding the Constitution? Well, so whatever the Commander-in-Chief says is what goes. It
That
doesn't
sounds like a
matter.
cult of personality to
It
me.
doesn't matter if it's unconstitutional.
This
what the
is a nation
Commander-in-Chief
of
says.
laws, supposedly, I was told, and since the Constitution's the highest law in the land, if the Commander-in-Chief
Apparently the chief
violates
is.
that piece of paper, then you should, as a person who
arrest
swore an
him.
oath to that Constitution, go in there and arrest him.
Okay, well, you're making sense.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free if you want to join us here. The number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. In the studio with you, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, then freedomsphoenix.com has them. You can go there and sign up for their daily dispatch. Get the latest on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. As we continue here, we're talking about some of the economic devastation. I mean, people losing millions of jobs, and they're on welfare as a result. Now, of course, the government's talking about coming up with another so-called stimulus package, which, of course, as we know, is actually just a wealth redistribution package, but they don't call things by their real names. They don't want to be honest about what's actually going on, and that...
Well, the previous stimulus package, the stimulus checks that Americans got, I mean, they obviously didn't stimulate the economy. All they did was transfer wealth from the poor people who needed to take that wealth and put it into some sort of savings or investment back into the hands of the corporations that were already doing pretty much okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of, the evidence is a lot of rich people got a lot richer in this time frame, and it seems like it has to do with
to some extent, these checks just being spent by the poor, which is what you want. I mean, it's a stimulus package. You're intending to stimulate the economy.
Well, if you
want
live in a
people to spend it.
Keynesian world where spending is what an economy needs.
You do live in a Keynesian world.
Well, we live in a world that they tell us is Keynesian.
Yeah,
but
well,
savings is what generates wealth, not spending.
Savings is a superpower. Thrift is a superpower in a Keynesian economy. I will concur with you on that.
But not if you're saving their money, because that's where the money comes from when they print out more. That comes from your savings. That's where the value comes. It comes out of your savings and into the pockets of the mega corporations.
Yeah, you don't want to keep it in USD if you can help it.
It's still better. I mean, it's
Sure.
not. It's there are ways to
saving is a
amplify.
good habit to have generally, but if you're saving in their money, then they will rape you financially when they print more of it out. That's what the dollar is designed to do. It's designed to be printed to be inflated and benefit the politically connected classes at the cost of any person who's holding dollars. And if you're saving, you're holding dollars.
You don't want to do it in, say, strictly a savings account or something like that. You want to have
You're
something.
still better off saving than buying all alcohol with it and drinking yourself to death. There's no doubt about that. But let's go to Otis. He's on the line and he's in, I believe, New York. Otis, you're on our Discord server. Go ahead.
What's going on? Great to be here. Great to be back on the show. I've had a little hiatus.
Yeah, we missed you, Otis. What have you been up to?
Just buying a house, living in a house, getting coronavirus, dancing. I have 4 pets now, so I really appreciate that you guys have the dog in the studio. It's beautiful.
How's Buster doing?
My dogs are in my studio with me right now, fighting each other, biting each other, urinating on the floor, all kinds of interesting things happening.
Now
here.
tell me, what is it going? You're calling from New York. Are you in the city, or are you calling from upstate, or where are you?
No. I'm upstate. I'm not in the city. I'm upstate. But basically, it's a great feeling here, right, in New York. We've opened into phase 4. Everybody's dancing, celebrating, kissing each other on the streets so that we can bring back the coronavirus. We're actually very upset that it's gone, so we're going to bring it back. We're not wearing masks anymore. We did it before, but we're going to stop so we can bring it back.
Boy, I wish New York was like you were saying, but I don't think it is. I don't think people are doing that there.
I can't tell what angle you're coming from. Are you criticizing the people who actually want to open back up?
No, it's Otis. I mean, Otis, I don't know if Otis has an angle besides just being Otis.
I couldn't agree less
Yeah.
or more with that.
He's just trolling. He's just trolling, having a good time. I don't even know if the accent's real, but I love it. I love it.
What do you think of, like, in Atlanta, calling you from New York?
I don't know.
I
It's
really
a
have
good-
a thick Southern accent.
I don't know, man. Tell me your favorite part about the New York lockdown.
I hate people. So not seeing people early on was actually the best because I'm a young guy. I'm healthy, right? So everybody knows the coronavirus. Okay, you can get this, that. Okay, you could still die if you're young, but you're not like my grandmother who forgets her Facebook information and can't use her brain properly. And then if coronavirus gets into her lungs, she's going to croak like you wouldn't believe. I'll be fine. I could probably survive it. So I was okay with taking a risk. So at the early days of lockdown here in New York, you could go out and basically walk down the streets. You could hang out, and you wouldn't see another person for the most part because people were very scared at that point. We didn't really know much about it. People were dying left and right. And you could just had the place to yourself. There was no cars, no traffic, no nothing. It's beautiful. You didn't have to see other people.
Yeah, it was a bizarre
no dinners,
thing.
No nothing.
It was like you're in one of those movies where, like you're the last man on earth, right? There's no one else around.
some
The
kind of post-apocalyptic thing.
Yeah, tumbleweeds are rolling through the streets.
No
That
dinner
kind of
with relatives who annoy you. None of that crap.
Otis, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate the update tonight. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Like, what was the movie with Will Smith, I Am Legend?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good movie.
It was like him and the dog, and that was pretty much it.
I remember one where there was like a shopping mall or something that some kids got left in the 80s. But of course, he was the last man. It was the Comet, Night of the Comet, perhaps.
There was that zombie movie that was in the shopping mall.
Yeah, I think it was like, that was maybe Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, but that wasn't the one I was referring to.
That was a good one, though, too. So, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. Since we're talking about movies, I've got some news about the movie business, because we've been discussing the destruction to these businesses, like the airline business that's being bailed out. I don't think the movie theater's got a bailout. I don't think they got one.
The airlines are coming back. I think the movie theaters probably got like the PPP loan kind of bailout. So
that's the handout for loans to pay the staff with.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's about it.
And then if you actually pay the staff the way the government demands, then you don't have to pay the loan back, basically. Otherwise, if you just use it on anything you want, then it becomes a loan. That's my understanding of how that worked. The latest on what's happening with the movie business. BusinessInsider.com reporting that AMC and Universal have come to a deal. Because remember, we talked a little while back about AMC was mad because Universal had released a couple of movies, maybe a handful of them, during COVID.
Trolls was certainly one of
Trolls 2 was the big one. That was the one that came out first. I think there might have been one, maybe two more. But,
and the results on that were that the movie didn't make as much money as it could have. It was
the total gross.
It was proposed to make, but what was the Universal? Universal made more money because they got to keep 80% of the ticket price
instead of 50.
So
it worked for them.
Well, AMC wasn't going to make money anyway because Trolls 2 was never going to be in theaters.
Well, it would have.
Because theaters were closed. Well, yeah, if they waited a year and a half.
Right.
Well, that's what they did. What's what Marvel did with Black Widow. Black Widow was slated to come out the first week of April. And
they pushed it back a year.
As we know, I think it's November is when it's slated at this point.
Everything's being pushed back.
Right. I mean, it's going to be a big winter, big Christmas time.
All the things that have been pushed back once are now being pushed back again. Some by like a year, basically. And there have been some articles about whether AMC is going to reopen anytime soon because, again, there's no new movies expected to come out. There was going to be the Christopher Nolan film Tenet that was getting a lot of buzz. He's the guy that made Inception and the Dark Knight films and that sort of thing. Big deal director. But his movie's been pushed back. It was supposed to be the movie that's going to save the movie theaters. And there
seems like there's one of those every 5 years at this point.
Well, they've managed to hang on. I mean, for quite a while.
But right now, I went from basically never seeing a movie once every 5 years or something, maybe once every 3 years, something like that, to seeing 3 movies a year
because of the Marvel movies.
Because of the Marvel movies. When Iron Man came out, I was sold.
Some of them you've seen more than once in theaters too.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think every single one of them I've seen more than once in a theater, and thus, I went from a non-movie guy to a movie guy. So Marvel, for me, saved movie theaters. But today, if I have to wait another month to see the Black Widow movie or something like that, I might be willing to wait.
855, 450 free. You mean wait and see it on home, like your home theater? Or
I would prefer that.
TV
honestly.
Screen or whatever. 855, 450 free. Well, the news here is about what they call the theatrical window, the amount of time where a new movie is dedicated exclusively to theaters. It's going to get a lot shorter, according to recent dealings between AMC and Universal. We'll share that with you on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
With gun theft on the rise, it's crucial that law-abiding citizens hide their guns from criminals who are now becoming desperate. Learn exactly how with the newly updated Hide Your Guns e-manual, written by a former U.S. Special Forces officer who now reveals his field-tested secrets. Whether it's sneaky ways to hide your guns in plain sight or using extremely clever hiding places that even skilled thieves will never suspect. Learn how to hide other valuables too, like cash, gold coins, credit cards, so that they're safe from thieves but back in your hands instantly when needed. All this week, get 4 free bonuses when you order. Gun Debate Bootcamp, How to Argue with Liberals About Guns and Win Every Time audio program. Our No BS Home Defense Report, the best-selling Your Home, Your Fortress e-manual, and a special mystery bonus worth $25. Go to hideyourguns.com. That's hideyourguns.com. Don't let your guns be stolen and used in a crime. Go to hideyourguns.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
Also, I want to let you know about Divvy. From mid-March to mid-July this year, Divvy, the new easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting on Free Talk Live, increased in value by over 10 times. Nothing is stopping Divvy from increasing exponentially again, and in fact, that's their goal. Divvy's price jumped 10 times in correlation with the release of their beta wallet. Now, will Divvy go up further when their wallet's fully released? I don't know, but at Free Talk Live, we're happy with our decision to hook up with Divvy a year ago. You can go to DivvyProject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting a masternode or staking Divvy. They have a lottery for people who stake the coin, too. Opportunity has knocked every day here on Free Talk Live since last September. Will you answer? DivvyProject.org. So we're going to get into your phone calls and thoughts, and then more about what's going on behind the scenes that's now being made public about AMC and Universal, the struggling movie cinema chain and the major cinema producer, Universal, which had broken up earlier this summer. There were headlines about how AMC was no longer going to show Universal's movies because Universal had released some films during COVID on their own streaming platform. Not necessarily theirs, but there were like 7 or 8 different streaming platforms. There was YouTube, there was like Amazon, there was, all these different platforms out there.
So was AMC's reasoning here just that, if we can't make money, we don't want you to make money either?
Well, hold on. I mean,
because it's not like Universal won't have movies for AMC to debut in the future.
what they said was that they're not going to show Universal movies at all. And what they got was apparently with the negotiated deal was, okay, we'll show your movies, but our window for showing them shrinks. It's like they sent Willie Joe Sausage Head in to do their negotiations.
Well, no, wait
them.
a minute. What's not clear is who went crawling back to who.
It's pretty clear.
You think AMC went crawling back to Universal?
What else?
Yeah, I think that's probably what
I think that the numbers bear out that Universal didn't lose this, that they had the strength to come to the bargaining table and say, hey, look, we really like you guys. We really like movie theaters out there. We think you guys
helped us build this business.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So here's what we'd like to offer you. We'd like to offer you a good rogering in the nether regions and then a smack in the face. So what do you think?
Well, we're going to get deeper into that, so to speak, here in just a moment. But first, let's talk to DA in Dallas, Texas. DA, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Well, this is my first time calling in on your guys' station. I only just heard it last night. Unfortunately, it's not live in my area, so...
Yeah, you guys got us in overnights there, but I think it's like 7 nights a week there in Dallas. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, it was 12 a.m. in the morning. I called in, but they said it was between 6 and 9, so I'm looking for you 6 and 9, but you ain't on the radio right now.
Nope, yeah, but you figured it out. Here we are. So
yeah, you're one of the few that's willing to do it, by the way.
So now you can tune in later and you can hear yourself on the air. But what were you calling about?
Yeah, I know. I'm going to sound like an idiot. That's what I told you.
Got to say one thing to you. It's hard to understand you. You don't happen to be on like a headset or a speakerphone, are you?
No, but I get that all the time. I'm real sorry.
All right. Go ahead with what you were calling about, DA.
Well, you probably already heard it a million times about the mask wearing BS. That's what you guys were talking about last night, and it was good to hear somebody else that wasn't such a COVID Karen.
COVID Karen.
About the problems wearing a mask, and
what are you seeing down there in Dallas? Are there any mandates from the government there? What's it like?
Yeah, there's mandates down here, but nobody's reading them. That's what's annoying too. When you walk into a store, you ask them what the mandate is. They tell you two things. They say it's mandatory and it's the law. And it's not mandatory. It's not the law. They act like when the mandate was put out, they act like it's like a 2-sentence mandate, and part of that sentence says it's the law and it's mandatory.
There were signs up at Bank of America this week that said, due to local authorities, masks are required, but local so-called authorities have not made a mask requirement mandate. So they're citing things that don't even exist.
Well, they're not lawyers.
Yeah. They're going beyond what the mandate says. And if I remember correctly, I think it even says in the mandate whatever's in here, there's nothing beyond it.
Well, here in New Hampshire, ours is really nothing more than a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens is that once you get down to the bottom level customer service kind of person that's tasked with dealing with somebody who doesn't want to deal with a mask, they're willing to say anything in order to get you to put a mask on or leave the store. They don't know what to do, and so what they're going to do... I
disagree. I think they're motivated primarily by a desire to not end up on YouTube. I mean, they're just trying to do their jobs. They don't want to make a scene. They don't want to give you a headache. They don't want
doing
a
a good
headache.
job at that. If that's what their desire is, they're failing at it miserably. Because when, for example, I go in the Walmart and the guy that's greeting at Walmart's got the mask right below his big nose, and I'm walking in. He's like, "Sir," they got to sir you to death. I'm like, let's go talk to the manager, right? Because I got health issues. Why I don't wear one? A couple of them, and so we go to the manager. She ain't even wearing it, above her nose. It's right below her nose. And then she goes and grabs one in her office while I'm standing there. I didn't know why she went in her office. Then she comes back out and holds me one. I'm like, I don't know where your hands have been. Where are you handing me a mask? I didn't ask for a mask. I'm just waiting here to talk to you,
Right.
With this guy
I have
right
a
here
medical exemption.
Yeah, and I tell him that. I say, I ask, do you guys have any house rules that are going beyond this mandate, or are you guys just following the mandate? And she can't answer the question because she doesn't even know what it says, and she doesn't even know.
And what is the mandate? You keep mentioning it. Is there one in Texas?
Well, yeah, I can't. I got to go over it again. I got the PDF thing on my phone. It is lengthy, but when I'm reading it, if you got health conditions, you let them know, and then you're done. Otherwise you can sue the store and own them. And they don't want to lose your business. But the employees there, they don't care to lose your business, but they don't want a million court battles. I mean, you type in
Yeah,
Google,
we actually read a piece from Walmart. There was a lady who is the girlfriend of a guy who used to host the show, so I'm pretty sure that this is legit. There was like a Xeroxed copy of this thing that they're handing out to all their employees. It basically says, hey, if the customer says they got an objection, whether it's medical or religious, you just let them shop. And
well, that's funny you mentioned religious, because remember I just told you a second ago there was more than one reason. I said health, but one of them is a religious reason too. It bothers my conscience, because there's a lot of this that's just following a rule without any principle behind it, and growing up with Bible standards, I learned principles. And so it's like the Pharisees versus Jesus,
See, I don't think
just burdening people with you got to wear the mask. It's like, well, how does wearing a visor, because they'll allow that too. You can wear this see-through visor that people work in shops and machine shops.
Right, the plastic, plastic face covering.
That's the equivalent of me holding my hand above my face everywhere I walk. That's retarded.
What were you going to say, Aria? You were trying to jump in there, I think.
I understand why some people would claim religious exemptions, but I'm not a fan of it, because I don't like the way that American society has placed a religious objection as somehow more important than just an objection.
Yeah,
and we see that all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I said I'm at
ultimately, and DA, thank you for the call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you and scheduling a phone call, actually, to call us. So that's really cool, going above and beyond. I mean, ultimately, this is a religious fight in a lot of ways, because the state is a religion. It is an evil religion that absolutely uses the idea of something that is greater than the sum of its parts, this idea of the state. One person is not the state, it's the collective. The state is all of these people that say they are part of it and that they represent it and that they are acting on its behalf, whatever it is. They seem to think that it has some sort of great power, and they are forcing their religious belief system down upon us. And so it is my religious belief to oppose the evil of the state.
In many cases, I think businesses are copping out. I mean, I support any business that says, you're not coming in here unless you wear this thing on your face.
I didn't go into the shipping shack today.
It's their business. They get to decide.
Let me direct it away, though, from the mask and governmental discussion, because let's consider bacon. I don't like bacon. I can't stand bacon. But when I tell people that, I'm like, oh, you should let me cook it for you. You'll love it. But if I were to say I'm Jewish and can't eat bacon, suddenly it's an entirely different subject. No one will ever offer me bacon as a response to me not liking bacon for religious reasons. But if it's some personal reason, they just wave it off. And it's the same with
I don't think you can cook bacon in any other. It still tastes like bacon.
Or steak or
every time.
Steak or whatever. Pork chops, pick your meat of choice. Whatever ones. If you don't like it for personal reasons, no one's going to object. No one's going to, oh, you just haven't. Well, everyone will object. But if you say it's for religious reasons, suddenly it's, oh, no, well, we respect that. And it's the same with the mask thing.
I feel, for philosophical reasons, don't eat octopus, because they're smart little critters and I like them.
I like the way they taste.
They taste like rubber bands.
Fried squid?
Oh, yeah.
That's just the stuff they put on it. So, I just say, for philosophical reasons, I don't eat octopus. And nobody ever says anything to me, because I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying that I'm not going to eat it.
855-450, free like freedom. You can share your thoughts with us. Hour 2's next. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Tech titans on the Hill. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The CEOs of some of the biggest tech companies in the U.S. before a House panel today facing questions about their business practices. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg telling lawmakers big companies are not necessarily a bad thing.
I believe that Facebook and the U.S. tech industry are a force for innovation and empowering people. But I recognize that there are concerns about the size and power of tech companies. Our services are about connection, and our business model is advertising, and we face intense competition in both.
Zuckerberg, along with the head of Alphabet, which owns Google and YouTube, were accused by Republicans of trying to silence conservative, which they denied, while Amazon's Jeff Bezos was under scrutiny, accused of trying to undercut smaller companies which use his website. The number of dead from COVID-19 in the U.S. has now reached 150,000, according to Johns Hopkins University. And a short time ago, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has issued a mandate that all House members and staff must wear a face covering while in the chamber. Federal officers who had been sent to Portland to protect the courthouse will leave the city after more than 2 months of violent protests. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf confirming a tweet from Oregon Governor Kate Brown, but he strongly objects to her accusations that putting the troops in place made things worse.
What we know is that the violence in Portland specifically was there well before DHS law enforcement officials arrived in Portland. The mayor, by his own words and own statements, declared that the city was under violence for more than a month before we got there. So this idea that we have somehow incited violence, the idea that enforcing federal law incites violence, is absolutely backwards, and I don't understand that.
Wolf says the officers will leave over time if a plan is in place to put local law enforcement in to take control of keeping the peace. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The body of civil rights icon and Georgia Congressman John Lewis has been brought to the state capitol building in Atlanta, where it will lie in repose.
At home in the 5th District, this legendary freedom fighter was a friendly neighborhood face, serving his constituents selflessly and with open arms.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, a private burial for Lewis is set for tomorrow. Lewis died last week at the age of 80 after a battle with cancer. The head of the Census Bureau says President Trump's order seeking to exclude illegal immigrants from the process of redrawing congressional districts isn't changing the goal of counting every person in the country. Stephen Dillingham made the remarks during an emergency hearing before the House Oversight Committee, but he said the Bureau is looking at ways to comply with the president's order. Civil rights groups have filed multiple lawsuits challenging the president's memorandum as unconstitutional. A social media company taking further steps to end hate speech on its site.
Starting July 30th, Twitter says it will block links promoting hate speech and violence.
While the company already bans this type of offensive content on the site, its policies don't extend to URLs shared in tweets, allowing bad actors to link folks to outside pages or posts, which may break Twitter's rules if shared directly to the platform. Twitter support posting hateful conduct and violence are now link content categories that we may block, adding accounts dedicated to sharing these types of links may be suspended. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Prosecutors in Wisconsin have charged 2 women with attacking State Senator Tim Carpenter during a night of violent protest outside the state capitol last month. Karita O'Reilly and Samantha Hammer are each charged with 1 count of being a party to a substantial battery, a felony punishable by up to $10,000 in fines and 3.5 years in prison. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
A local man treats his girlfriend to a sumptuous 20-second massage, and an area desk doesn't mind if people sit on it like a chair every once in a while. This is The Onion Week in Review. Following months of anticipation and global fanfare, the royal baby was finally born this week. Sources close to the royal family say the newborn prince spent his first days crawling around Buckingham Palace, eating his first meal, and even speaking his first words. The Onion has obtained this exclusive audio clip. In other news, a man's annual 6-sentence conversation with his cousin goes smoothly, a generous improv troupe performs for free, and a pool owner has a bathing suit that touched his penis you can borrow.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up anything that you want. We're kicking off the second hour of the program. We got plenty of time for you if you want to join us here. Take control of the airwaves. 855-450 free. We were going to get into the story about AMC Universal kissing and making up a little bit. They've come to a new agreement. Instead of them breaking up, which is what it had looked like maybe a month or two ago when the headlines were talking about how Universal will no longer be allowed to show their pictures in AMC. AMC has now relented and will be allowing Universal to show. And there's now a shorter window of time in which they will have the theatrical exclusivity. We'll tell you a little bit more about that with you tonight, though. It's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
Going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. You can bring up absolutely anything that you want to discuss here. Toll-free number again, 855-450, free like freedom. We've got the Discord call-in line rooms. They're open and available to you. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us when you call in on our Discord server. It's easy to do. Just grab the Discord app at whatever place you go and get apps, maybe Google or Apple's App Store, or you can download it from discordapp.com, and you can get the computer version, which is excellent. In fact, that's where we're going to go to first here because we've got someone calling themselves Meth Pipe on the line.
Should be good.
Calling from Nevada. You're on Free Talk Live, Meth Pipe.
Hey, guys. I was watching the House antitrust probe today regarding Google and Facebook and
oh wow, I didn't even know this was going on.
I had somebody recommend that I watch it because it was very funny.
It doesn't sound like it'd be funny. Those things sound boring as sin.
Well, the politicians are like, the internet is a series of tubes, right? So I mean, for a tech person, it's
that was
probably
George Bush, wasn't it?
No,
it was a guy from Alaska.
It was some congressional person.
Yeah.
But for a tech person, it's funny to hear the government try to understand technology.
Yeah, it's also funny that these people who work for a monopoly are sitting there talking about, we think you are too close to a monopoly.
Well, it takes one to know one.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So what about it, Meth Pipe?
Yeah, I did think that was funny, the way the old people were. They looked confused and sounded confused, but that's not why I called. It was disappointing and kind of horrifying the way that the government people were bringing up how Google backed out of some military contracts, as if that had some relevance to antitrust. And then they were also talking about the willingness of some of the other companies to cooperate with law enforcement, as if, that has any relevance.
Well, from their point of view, it kind of does. I mean, hey, you didn't scratch our backs.
Right, that's
what
what
do
it
you
is.
expect us to scratch yours?
But what we're doing is they're making abundantly clear that this is all about you doing what we say.
Right.
And
then we'll protect you better.
Right. And if not, we're going to use whatever means necessary. We'll use a hearing that's supposed to be on exactly whether or not you've violated the antitrust laws here in the United States. We'll use that for anything that we have to use it for. You better do as we ask.
Yeah, and I think Google, the only reason they backed out of that is because their employees had a moral dilemma.
Yeah.
Not because of
I think I remember that one.
Google itself. But they've
abandoned that whole "don't be evil" thing. Yeah.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah.
What else, Meth Pipe?
Yeah, don't be evil. That's all I had.
Thanks for the call, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you as we continue. Greg Don is on the line in podcast land. Greg Don, you're on Free Talk Live, calling from Kentucky.
Greg Don? No, that's Creighton.
Oh, they totally screwed that one up. Sorry, Creighton. Go ahead.
I wanted to revisit something that you guys talked about on Sunday night. The military gaming exercise that kind of determined that no matter what happens, there's going to be a civil unrest following the election.
So there was
and I'm going to do.
Yep. Well, basically what they did was they hired. Let me give it real quick here.
For me,
recap, Creighton. So basically what they did is they got a bunch of experts together, and they said, what's going to happen here if in this situation an election. So I've been concerned that Trump won't get the majority of the votes, but might come close to getting the electoral votes in given states. And then if for whatever reason they say, nope, it went to Biden, then Trump says, no, we're going to sit around for a recount and then keep stalling, that there might be a lot of civil unrest, people saying, you better get out of there in January. What if he doesn't get out in January? We've never had a situation where we had this sort of strongly disputed election, at least not in my lifetime, when it was a seated president.
This fear happens every single 4 years that I've been on the air on this show. There's always the fear that, what if Barack Obama doesn't let go of the office? What if George Bush never leaves and enacts martial law to stop people from taking him out of office? And of course, it's never actually transpired in that way. But Crichton, what were you going to say about this?
Well, I was going to actually mildly disagree with my spirit host, Mark.
Yes.
And this is propaganda in the sense that not that they do this. They actually do this. It's the fact that they do this every time. They do this kind of gaming exercise every single time. The only reason you're hearing about it now is because it gives them an excuse later. Because this is the way I think it's going to go down. If Trump actually wants to be reelected, and I'm not sure that he does, but if he does, he will be elected because he has total control of this. But if he doesn't want to be reelected, for example, because he doesn't want to be remembered as the president during the Second Great Depression.
Yep.
That he will subtly throw it, and which case.
Well, wait a minute. How is he going to throw the election? Because some people have said that they don't think Trump wanted to win the first time, and that he was actually genuinely surprised when he did win. So, what makes you think he can throw this election, and how would he do that?
I have successfully predicted every single presidency since I was 17 years old.
Wow. All right.
And
you got a better number than New Hampshire right now.
And the reason I am good at this is because I think that a lot of the reason I'm good at this is because I can separate myself from what I want versus what I see.
Okay.
And that's hard for most people to do.
Sure.
I knew that Trump was going to win about a month after he announced. I knew he was going to wipe them out. And I knew that because I knew that he was good at this. He could frame the narrative like no one else. No one else alive, probably.
So how's he going to throw the election? He's got tremendous momentum. He's got, a huge fan base. In fact, some say a much larger fan base than people will realize or let on, because some people will vote for Trump but say they voted for Biden because they don't want their friends.
But it's a vote.
I don't think there's anything that Trump could say or do that could cost him his base.
Yeah, that's my belief.
If anybody can throw it at this point, it's him.
I mean, the dude got caught saying he wanted to grab women by their private parts
15 years ago.
But he got caught.
But he still said that.
He got caught before the election. Okay,
I get that they trotted it out.
And the guy down.
What about Biden? I mean, there's actual sexual molestation allegations against him, and
I'm not aware of any sexual molestation allegations
that's
against
neither
them.
here nor there. There has never been a presidential candidate in our lifetimes that wasn't a piece of
garbage.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's never happened.
I mean, yeah, it's in the job description.
But it really is that Trump is a master of framing his opponent. If he wants to win, he can obliterate Biden. If he does not want to win, he can not obliterate Biden.
I don't think he could not obliterate Biden.
Yeah, I can't imagine why the guy actually agreed to 3 debates. I cannot believe it. He'd be better off staying in his basement.
Here's what's going to happen, I think.
With the little kids.
I think if he wants to win, Trump will win in a big way. And then there's going to be riots. And this piece is actually a propaganda piece for coverage. Because that's going to happen regardless of whether or not it was a legitimate.
Well, some people say, and Crichton, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate the thoughts. Some people say there's going to be riots whether or not Trump wins. Even if Biden wins, it's not going to slow down the people in the streets.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oil, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
And Free Talk Live is going to be in Dallas, meaning Mark is going to be in Dallas August 6th through the 8th for Mobilize 2020.
Yep.
It's going to be the biggest liberty-oriented networking event this year, and it's invitation only, but you can get your invitation easily by going to yaliberty.org, which stands for Young Americans for Liberty.
Yep.
yaliberty.org/mobilize, and you can register there. That's Mobilize 2020 Dallas, August 6th through the 8th, yaliberty.org/mobilize. And we did actually have a caller from Dallas just by chance here because we are on the air. It's actually one of the biggest cities in which we have a radio station, but it's overnights, so they run us in the middle of the night. And we're still grateful to be there. But apparently, according to the caller, they have some sort of a mask mandate. And sure enough, a story from TexasTribune.org from earlier this week, or late last week, 3 weeks after Governor Greg Abbott required Texans to wear masks, epidemiologists and disease modelers say they're cautiously optimistic that the mandate is helping the state turn a corner in its efforts to contain an outbreak that has killed more than 4,500 Texans, which is almost no one compared to the population of Texas. Throughout the summer, Texas...
But it is still 4,500 people who, according to the typical narrative, would still be alive today.
Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't.
For COVID-19.
We don't know, though.
I agree. Yeah. But that's the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's the assumption people make. Oh, well, my cousin got COVID-19 and died. He would still be alive today if these people wore masks.
If your cousin is below the age of 70, it is unlikely that your cousin would die. Period. Like if
that's not the point, though, because people's cousins who are 25 years old have died.
They have.
From complications arising from COVID-19.
People who 25-year-olds have died from lots of diseases, but if you were going to design a disease, if you were a government, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but if you were a government that was intending to design a disease, you would design a disease that would kill off the people that did the least for the economy. And that's what we're seeing.
I don't think that's what the government would want, though. They don't want the people who do the least for the economy. They want the people who do the least thinking to survive. They want the smart people to die, the people who are smart enough to question orders.
Well, you got to have smart people to engineer things and smart people to build the machinations of war. And
sure, but you can get all of that from within your elite circle for the most part. You may not get the best.
Plenty of rich people are dying because of this disease. They just happen to be old and fat also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The requirements, by the way, in Texas is that those living in counties with more than 20 coronavirus cases must wear a face covering over their nose and mouth while in a business or other building open to the public, as well as outdoor public spaces whenever so-called social distancing is not possible. And, of course, does have exceptions, including children under 10. We've seen some states where it's mandatory on kids over 2. People who have a medical condition that prevents them from wearing a mask, people who are eating or drinking, and those exercising outdoors. It went into effect, it looks like, earlier this month. So
what behavior outdoors can you engage in other than standing or sitting that would not qualify as exercise? And I think even standing would technically qualify as exercise.
Well, that's a stretch.
Yeah, but any amount of movement would qualify as exercise.
Right,
if you
certainly walking would.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. To me, outside, I mean, you want people to wear masks outside? It's
in Texas?
So outrageous.
Quote, when social distancing is not possible.
Okay.
So anytime you might come nearby another human being, so if you're on the same sidewalk as another person, then they would require you to wear a mask.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, how are these written? Because I've seen some interesting things about people wearing only masks.
Meaning naked and just a mask?
Yes, but the mask isn't over their face. But they are technically wearing a face mask. They're just wearing it in the wrong place. So how are these regulations
I'm certainly not going to tell them
written?
to take it off.
I suspect they've covered that one, Aria.
You think so?
Covered?
Yeah. Where they define. I saw the one at least from Keene, the proposed ordinance here in Keene, New Hampshire, and it does specify that the mask can't have a hole where the mouth is, and that it needs to be on your face and covering your nose and your mouth. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've got that covered, but it is an important question because most people will never actually read the various different ordinances and laws and such. In this case, they say first-time violators will be issued a warning, though repeat offenders could be fined up to $250.
And what if you don't pay the fine?
I don't know. That's a question somebody in Texas would have to answer. I know that here in New Hampshire, they will put you in jail if you don't pay the fine. I suspect that's true in most places, but most people never get that far because they pay. Yeah. They do what they're told. Or they pay.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like speeding tickets and things like that where they can go after your license. But if you're just talking about a fine, a civil fine given to you by a government, it's kind of a curious situation.
Yeah, fight it. I promise you they'll drop it.
I think that they would. That's what we see here in New Hampshire. But most people don't fight because it's burdensome. It takes time.
Sure.
And most folks don't want to go to court. It's scary. It's a time waster. You're going to drop hours of your life into this court system where you could just pay the money and be on with it, right?
Yep.
That's what they know that people think that way. Let's go to Larry. He's in Indianapolis. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Larry. Uh-oh. I don't know what you're connected to us with, Larry, but you sound real tinny, real far away.
I got the sounds on the speakerphone.
Much better.
I just put the fine on your tax bill, but anyway, I'm just sitting there laughing and thinking about when 9/11 happened. They used to march Ashcraft out, Bush march him out there, and they'd spin the color wheel. Oh, it's orange today. Oh, it's yellow today. Why didn't we get a color wheel by now?
Some places have it. Actually, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands has it. They're blue currently.
They proposed that, and that was actually part of the story we didn't get to last night. The story about the total crackdown that the Washington Post was advocating for would include a severity of whatever arbitrary color wheel that they come up with.
That's not what I was calling about. I was calling to talk about how these athletes are burning their meal ticket down. I seen some boys the other day, a professional athlete. You know how they talking about this Black Lives Matters and all this stuff like that?
Not
all
really.
they doing is talking themselves out of a job because nobody's going to come watch them. The stadiums are going to be half empty any daggone way.
Well,
so
that doesn't have anything to do with them being in favor of Black Lives Matter as much as it does people
really
being
because
afraid.
The stems are completely empty right now, other than the cardboard cutout people.
Are they even going to let people in? Like, are they allowing people to even buy
As I
tickets?
understand it, they're not.
In many cases, no.
And they're a bunch of cowards, right?
Yes,
they're a bunch of
like
cowards. And they're not gladiators
the government built most of those
they won't
stadiums.
even go out, and they're making all that money, but that's going to strip them a lot of people, and it's going to stop the pipeline when these colleges don't play because that's where they get their players from. somebody's out to destroy professional sports and to destroy the entertainer, too. Just think of all these entertainers whose money is based on getting out and touring and stuff.
And that's most of them. That's a good point, Larry, and thank you for the call tonight. That's almost all of the musical performances out there. They don't make much off of record deals. It's going and performing for live audiences and selling T-shirts that really does
They have records still?
Marilyn Manson dropped a new album today. I just remembered.
And
Did
there's more
it
coming
shatter?
up. It's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free, bring up what you want right here. 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
Just as the internet is a global network that connects local networks, Intercoin is a global currency platform that enables communities around the world to issue and manage their own currency to circulate among their local population. Intercoin enables fintech innovation on the local community level, leading to stronger communities, greater sustainability, less poverty, and more productivity. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. As we continue, you can bring up what you want. We had just scratched the surface of the story where AMC Theaters, the currently closed mega theater corporation that they supposedly will open at some point in the future. We don't know when that's going to be because, well, most of the movie companies have continued to push back all their major releases that they've been touting for the last several months. The dates keep getting pushed back. But they've cut a deal, so they're trying to mend the fences here. They were angry at each other earlier during the COVID season as Universal Pictures released movies online. AMC, pounded their feet, stomped their feet, and said, "Well, we're not going to let you show movies in our theaters anymore." Well, now that's over. They're going to be getting back together, but with one major change. According to Business Insider, AMC and Universal, after a 3-month-long feud, have reached a deal that could have major ramifications for the future of the movie business. AMC and Universal announced this week that the much-debated theatrical window would shorten to 17 days.
Whoa!
2 weeks, just over 2.5 weeks.
So how long
Down
is
from what?
Yeah, it's got to be months.
Down from 75.
Wow.
Days. So 2.5 months after the release of a movie. Before is when they would release it onto video or whatever methods they would. Now it'll be down to 17 days.
Correct.
So that's basically okay. So 17 days is the first weekend, the second weekend, and the third weekend.
Not even.
No.
Well, I guess if you look at weekends, then
weekends is what they look at. I can assure you.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. I guess you're right about that.
So it would be like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 3 days, and then so you're starting on Monday. So Monday to Sunday.
1, 2.
It's very nice of them to give them 3 weekends.
Yeah, 3 weekends.
That's it. They announced that it would be 17 days, meaning Universal's movies would be able to debut on premium video-on-demand services 17 days after premiering at AMC theaters. The previous window, again, was 2 to 3 months. It's a dramatic shift for a system that Jeff Bach, the exhibitor relations senior media analyst, characterized to Business Insider as archaic. The agreement doesn't mean that consumers could wait 17 days and get a standard-priced rental instead of going to a theater, however. PVOD digital rentals at services like iTunes and Amazon are typically priced at $20 a pop for new releases.
Wow.
So this is different than the movie on video release date. That may still be 90 days down the road or whenever that time frame is.
Well, presumably it takes time to cut a DVD.
They could have that ready to go.
Stuff. True.
There's some sort of a deal in place there that prohibits DVD sales from starting. And I don't know how many days that one is, but it seems relatively short these days.
Can you explain to me what this 17-day window is then?
Well, that's what they're saying here. They're trying to explain it's the PVOD, Premium Video on Demand. So the equivalent of the Trolls 2 release where it was only available online, on demand through Universal.
So I'm not buying, like if I wouldn't go to Amazon.com or Netflix and buy the video and then it would be added to my collection.
No.
This would just be the ability to view it in sort of a rental situation.
Correct.
Evidently for an exorbitant amount.
Well,
$20 for a rental? That's
for
insane.
a single person. It is.
Yes.
Even for a family, that's
no,
insane.
It's not. Think about it for a family. Like Mark, he's got one kid. But some people have 2.
Well, yeah, but that one kid needs a butt and a seat. You almost can't walk into a Marvel movie without paying $12 per person. That's $36 if Jack can talk his mother into going. So, and then popcorn and all that other stuff. So it's a saving.
You're in for at least $50 if you're a family going to the movies, you know?
See, I don't have kids, but what I do have is uTorrent.
Yes, and that certainly exists. And
so to me, coming from that perspective, you're not competing with the movie theaters here. When you're talking video on demand, you're competing with the Pirate Bay.
Yeah,
sure.
And I'm willing to pay for your stupid subscription service. I'm willing to rent your movie if the price is right.
Yeah,
but for a single person, it's a lot.
And I've done this from Amazon. I'll rent a movie for $2.99 or $1.99 or whatever, but $20? No. I am torrenting it.
I haven't rented a movie in forever. I mean, I've got Netflix. They send me
But you have
DVDs.
the old Netflix where they send you actual discs.
Yeah, that's
Netflix no longer has movies. Not anything good. I mean, they do still have movies, but it's basically just originals now. That's the only thing to find there worth watching.
Okay, well, I've got the DVDs and Blu-rays. I can rent almost every movie that I ever want to see. They're all there.
See, I would just stream it. I don't want to.
But I almost never do it anyway. So I've been sitting on it. I sit on movies for like 2, 3, 4 months before I actually sit down and watch them. Because of this, AMC is likely not as worried about a huge chunk of customers seeing the online versions as a deal relative to theaters. Assuming the public health crisis of the coronavirus pandemic eventually dissipates, the feud between AMC and Universal began, and we explained what happened there. It was over the Trolls sequel, where Universal just put it out there and said, you know what, if we can't put it in theaters, we're not going to wait. We're going to try this new system, and it actually worked out really well for them. Financially, they made more money, even though the total gross for the film was a little bit lower than the one that came prior to it.
What is the video quality of these projectors? I assume it's probably
at
4K?
The theaters?
Yeah.
It's got to be at least 4K. I mean, it's certainly higher than 1080p, I would think. I don't know. It's a great question. They did put all new digital projectors in here in Keene several years ago. So
I know the audio quality there is better than what you're going to get at home, unless you spend $4,000 or $5,000 on.
You don't need to spend that kind of money these days
to compete with the actual quality in a movie theater.
You don't need the size speakers that they have in a movie theater because you're not trying to fill a humongous room. I mean, unless your theater is the same size as the actual movie theater, which almost no one has a home theater like that. If you're just trying to fill this little room that we're sitting in here, I mean, you don't need a humongous subwoofer. I've got a subwoofer in my little TV room here that is way bigger than is necessary to fill that room.
Yeah,
I don't
but you're
even
not
have
going
it
to get
turned up.
and you, as an audiophile, you know this. You're not going to get the audio quality out of a Walmart subwoofer and soundbar as you're going to get out of these sound
You
systems.
don't have to go to Walmart. I mean, you can get a nice pair of Sonys or JBLs or whatever. I mean, you don't have to spend that much money. I've had that Sony subwoofer. I spent $300 on it 2 decades ago. And it is bigger than I need for probably, multiple rooms. It's humongous. I don't even have that, I don't think, turned up to like 30% of the amount of oomph that can come out of it.
I love subwoofers, yeah. They're nice.
So there was one time out of one of the Marvel movies that somebody gave me access online to like a Czechoslovakian pirated version or something. And it was a good version. It wasn't like somebody held a phone up in the movie theater or anything. I wouldn't be willing to watch that. But I watched that a couple of times and then still went to the movie theater and watched it there. But I got to say that it was a pretty good experience watching it. It's the only time that I watched a Marvel movie first on the computer rather than watching it in the theater first. And, it was a nice experience. It was still good enough for me.
The only version of the Endgame that I've ever seen was a transport stream, which is one of the camcorder versions, but it was in HD. And other than the fact that the colors washed out a bit for 30 seconds or so at one point, it was indistinguishable from having it on DVD.
Well, if you put, television screens these days or monitors are humongous for next to no cost compared to what they used to be. You can get a 50-inch, 60-inch screen at Walmart
for like $400
for $400 or $500. You throw a semi-decent speaker system in there, and you're doing fine, honestly. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The flat screen TV I've had since 2006.
I'm here with Scott Useum, founder of OMG Tax. Tell us how your company helps our listeners out there who have a problem with the IRS.
My team of lawyers, enrolled agents, and licensed tax experts remove wage garnishments sometimes in the same day. We even have reduced the total debt some of our clients were required to pay through what is known as an offer in compromise.
Can you give us an example of somebody you help?
Oh, can I ever? We have taken a $500,000 liability with the IRS. Guess what? The client didn't pay a dime through the representation known as non-collectible status with the government.
If you owe the IRS more than $10,000 and you want to see if it's possible to pay a lot less, call OMG Tax right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. That's 800-486-8112.
Dehibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on, so it naturally has antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-infection, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. But maybe more importantly, Dehibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea builds corpuscles in the blood, which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer happens to die in oxygen. The tea is great for healthy people and can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. Dehibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea is only $34.95 plus shipping. Order now at shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. That's shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. shopsupertea.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited if you want to join us here. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
We're talking about the movie business, which, everybody loves movies, right? We all have our favorites, whatever those might happen to be. But
horror movies.
What's that?
Horror movies.
What's your favorite?
My favorite horror movie?
Do you have one? Or there's too many to choose from?
Oh, God, man.
Which horror movie have you seen more than any other?
I don't know.
There's not one that stands out, huh?
There is, but I can't think of the name because I haven't seen it more than any other. It's probably my favorite, though. It was
so good you don't remember the name of it.
Well, it was last October, right? And each October I watch like 70,000 horror movies because it's October. So of course I do.
And you watch a lot of like the bad low budget ones too.
I watched a lot of those, but this one wasn't one of those. It was something about mythology and man, I wish I could remember.
That's a terrible answer. I expected so much more out of a horror fan.
Chartarum.
Chartarum?
Do you remember?
What the hell was that? Oh, that was like a Free Stater thing, wasn't it?
Like a libertarian horror movie that was put together like 10 years ago.
That's right. Were you in that one?
No.
Okay. I know that Dale, one of our former co-hosts.
Yeah, many of our listeners were, but we didn't have the time.
Wasn't it one of our listeners who produced that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I have any favorite.
Chartarum.
I can't remember the last actually good horror movie that I watched though, because
that's sad.
For every one good one, there's 10 out there that are just
terrible.
Terrible. And this was one of those good. I want to say it was Candyman, but I don't.
The original?
No, the remake, I believe.
See, I haven't seen any of them. I've heard the original was actually really good.
I'm pretty sure it was Candyman
with Tony Todd, the star
recall.
there. So if you want to call in, we can talk about movies like generally. That's cool too. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I did see the most recent horror movie that I saw was Halloween, the third reboot or remake or whatever the hell you want to call it, the one from 2018.
Oh, the true sequel to the original? Yes. That's how they're framing it?
And I liked it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. Now,
is it good?
Did you see the original?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a heretic.
Okay.
I have not seen the Rob Zombie ones because I don't think
either.
Rob Zombie has any business making horror movies, but... That point aside,
did he buy Halloween?
He bought the rights to make some of the movies, I guess.
Okay.
And then he humanized Michael Myers, which was the counter to the entire point of Michael Myers.
Okay.
According to the guy who created Michael Myers, by the way, who distanced himself from the Rob Zombie remakes because Rob Zombie doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to making pretty much anything, including music.
I would say the Halloween, the 2018 version of it was a better kind of follow-up film, but similar to like the more recent Terminator one, Terminator Dark Fate, that came out. So the two had sort of similar qualities in that they had the sort of female heroine who was, real strong, right? Like, or they didn't start strong, but they became the strong character, right? So
character development, that's important for a movie, yeah.
Sarah Connor, of course, was like, this little weak waitress when Terminator started, and then she became this badass. And then in the most recent version, she's like an ultra badass, and she's like taking on Terminators
really?
Single-handedly.
The last one I watched was Terminator 3, I think, Rise of the Machines.
Yep, I liked that one.
It was all right.
I thought it was good.
It was a fun romp.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like groundbreaking and world-shattering like T2 was.
But they blew some crap up and, had a good time doing it.
I really enjoyed T2.
Yeah, so you had this sort of...
But Terminator was great, too.
This sort of badass heroine kind of thing going with Sarah Connor, right? And they continued that. But Dark Fate just wasn't that great of a movie. It was fine, but it wasn't anything to really get excited about.
Like Toy Story 6 or whatever number
I haven't seen the most recent one, but I've liked all the Toy Stories that I've seen. But the Halloween one also brought back Laurie, the main character. Was it Strode? I think was her last name. Jamie Lee Curtis, who again was just a little babysitter in the original, and then she's turned into like this badass, tough as nails bitch that's like training with weapons, and she's ready. So
is this like her versus Michael Myers?
Kinda.
Is that like the plot, like Alien versus Predator kind of thing?
Well, I mean, it's not the same thing as Alien versus Predator, but that is the idea.
My point is, you got this badass over here and this badass over
that's
here.
That's what it is.
So what happens if you shoot Mike Myers with a shotgun?
He comes back to life.
Okay.
Yeah, he can't be killed.
Yeah.
Have you seen Halloween, Mark?
I saw Halloween, but it's been a long time.
He dies in every single one of them.
I don't willingly subject myself to horror movies.
I like a horror movie, but I don't watch most of like the whole series of these things. So I've seen the original Halloween, I've seen the sequel to Halloween, and then I skipped the rest of them until H2O, and then I skipped the rest of them after that.
Well, there was only one more, wasn't there? Season of the Witch, Halloween 3?
No, there was like 6 Halloweens before they got to H2O, I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So H2O was the first time
I skipped some as well then.
H2O was the first time they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis.
And it was decent for what it was.
All right,
I rewatched it recently. I was like, wow, I can't believe I ever liked this because there's not much movie there.
It's a short movie.
Yeah.
But she's not a badass in that movie. She's just sort of like a tough mom.
Yeah, but she becomes one toward the end, and that's the point. It was beautiful. I mean, she lived in fear
Character
her entire
development's
life,
important.
trauma,
Yeah.
PTSD, and all this. And then suddenly she was like, "No, I'm not running from this anymore."
I like that. I mean, that's the kind of message I can get behind with my movies is don't be a victim.
Have you seen H2O?
No, I don't watch horror movies.
If you liked that about H2O, she's that end part for the whole movie in the new Halloween. Now, to be fair, she's not in the whole movie, but the whole time she's in it, she's the badass Laurie who's like...
What's the rest of the movie?
Just building up Michael Myers and what's going on.
So you watched... The only Marvel movie you watched was Doctor Strange.
No, you took me to one of the
early ones. I think I
took me
to Iron Man.
No. You took me to the Captain America.
Was it Captain America?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like a
all
plane
of the
and they
Captain
fell out
America
of it.
movies are worth watching.
Okay.
The first Avenger is probably the weakest of them, and that's the one I took him to.
Yeah.
Anyway, the second Doctor Strange is slated to be a horror movie.
No, really?
Yeah. So Doctor Strange always existed in his own little universe, and even in the comics.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there was definitely crossover. He was a founding member of the Defenders or whatever, and he dealt with every one of the teams. But usually, if you read a Doctor Strange comic, you're going to be dealing with demons and tentacled things and astral projection and going in this plane and all that kind of thing. Right. And that's they're taking the sort of the magic oriented people in the Marvel universe, and they're going to make a horror-based movie surrounding that.
To me, that's counterproductive because the entire appeal of horror is the realism. And once you insert magical characters who can bend time and space, you lose that appeal. Well, it's no longer something that could happen or that's going to terrify you because it's...
Where would you put the genre where somebody goes to hell? And for what deals with demons and alternate dimensions and things like that. Where would you put that genre?
I would probably consider that to be a monster movie and not a horror movie.
Okay.
Well, monster movie versus horror movie, and there's a subtle distinction between those.
Was Alien one of the greatest
Not necessarily, because I would lump them into, the Godzilla movies as being monster movies as well.
Okay, true.
And I would say the same thing about the...
But Godzilla doesn't have that jump scare aspect to it. Alien, the original...
Well, horror isn't about jump scares.
Oh, look, I'm not here to tell you what horror's about. I'm trying to distinguish
That's just what
where
it became about in in the 80s.
Fine.
80s?
There's plenty of jump scares in old 80s horror.
So there's a different... You look at Alien versus Aliens 2. Aliens 2 is clearly
it's just
action
Aliens.
movie.
There's no 2.
I'm sorry, Aliens. Yeah. So the Alien versus Aliens. Aliens is a action movie, but Alien is a horror movie.
I don't know how to tell you this.
Yep.
I've never seen any of them.
Well, it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
I know, but the last time I tried to watch it, there was an issue with my sound system where the quiet parts were like too quiet for me to hear, and then suddenly, because it was mixed in the 80s, and then suddenly the loud parts were like deafening. I could revisit it now.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where so many movies were influenced by it. You can see, you'll be watching and be like, oh yeah, that's obviously an influence on all these other movies that I've been watching over the years.
Yeah, you actually had a laser disc version of the director's cut that we got to see at a business where your dad worked that had a private movie theater.
Yeah.
And it was one of the single best viewing experiences I had in my life.
I gotta say that really was pretty amazing. And that's the kind of stuff that was back when you could drop $300,000 on a home theater. That's what the kind of things that were being sold at that particular place.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the pop culture aspect and favorite movies, and you're welcome to comment as well. But what brought this whole conversation on is things are changing. If the movie business can even survive this COVID crackdown that's been going on, because they have had no revenue for the last 5 months, and there's no start. There's no starting date for when they're going to throw the doors open. They don't know when they're going to reopen. We just talked to Carlos, who was on with us last night. While he's been visiting Keene, he went to the Keene Cinemas, which is open and showing classic movies like Back to the Future and Batman and the original Jurassic Park. And I asked him, how many people were in the theater with you? And he said, no one.
No one.
It was just him. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. Hour 3's next. It's Free Talk Live. What's the future of movies?
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A mask mandate. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. After a second member of the House Freedom Caucus tests positive for COVID-19, masks are now a must in the House chamber.
Members of the House and staff are now required to wear face coverings on the House floor during the coronavirus pandemic unless they're addressing the chamber.
The chair expects all members and staff to adhere to this requirement as a sign of respect for the health, safety, and well-being of others present in the chamber and surrounding areas.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made that announcement hours after another lawmaker announced a positive COVID test. Texas Republican Louis Gohmert says he has no symptoms. He was frequently spotted around the Capitol without a face covering. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The number of dead in the U.S. from COVID-19 has reached 150,000, according to Johns Hopkins University, which also reports the number of infected in the U.S. at 4.4 million. President Trump with a stop in Texas, talking energy and opening the door for oil pipeline production.
President Trump called his signing of 4 presidential permits an important step to preserving energy jobs in Texas. It approves new rail and pipeline infrastructure along the southern border.
This will include 2 permits allowing the export of Texas crude to Mexico.
The president says this action builds on a Texas oil legacy that helped build America. As part of his visit to the Permian Basin in West Texas, President Trump toured an oil rig. A campaign fundraiser was also on his schedule. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is resting comfortably after undergoing what's being described as minimally invasive non-surgical procedure at New York City's Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital. That's according to the Supreme Court. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
An experimental COVID-19 vaccine now in clinical trials has shown early signs of success in monkeys.
Moderna began phase 3 of its clinical trials of its potential coronavirus vaccine this week, making use of 30,000 human test subjects. But the company and federal health officials reveal the formula appears to work in non-human primates. Researchers gave 2 rounds of the vaccine to rhesus macaque monkeys exposed to SARS coronavirus number 2, the virus causing COVID-19, and they observed the animal's immune system respond. The virus was rapidly controlled in the monkeys' respiratory systems using both high and low doses of the vaccine. 4 weeks later, the monkeys were re-exposed to the virus, but no virus could be detected in the monkeys' lungs 7 times out of 8. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Pentagon keeping a close eye on Iran as Tehran test fires missiles near U.S. troops.
Tensions in the Middle East are rising after Iran took part in military drills this week, test firing a number of ballistic missiles. The Iranians released video of the drills showing an Iranian missile targeting a mock U.S. aircraft carrier. During the larger exercise, 2 military bases housing American troops in the UAE and Qatar were put on high alert as ballistic missiles were fired in their vicinity. American service members at both bases were told to quickly find shelter when 3 missiles were fired from Iran and appeared to be heading for the bases. In the end, they landed short. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
A man arrested last year in New Orleans in a reported assault on comedian Andy Dick will not be prosecuted. A spokesman for the district attorney's office says the comedian has not been cooperative with prosecutors, but he says the case could be revived if he contacts them. Video recorded outside a French Quarter nightclub last August showed the comedian being knocked unconscious. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
I'm Brooke Alvarez, and while I may not acknowledge your presence in person, and if you try to approach me, you'll most certainly be hit in the face with the stinging nettles I carry on me at all times, I like to take a moment every now and again to answer your questions so that you can get to know the real me. Here's a tweet from @Kirkamunga saying, what is the most important thing to remember when talking to people who may not be as informed as you? I love this question, Kirkamunga. There are 3 simple steps to dealing with uninformed people. First, when you realize that someone doesn't know something, repeat very loudly in their face the thing they don't know. For example, you don't know who the Prime Minister of Zimbabwe is? Second, look to everyone around you and let them know that this person is completely ignorant. Hey everyone, Sebastian doesn't know who the Prime Minister of Zimbabwe is. Third, you call up the Prime Minister of Zimbabwe and tell him that Sebastian doesn't know who he is, and then laugh really loudly until the ignorant person just leaves in utter shame. If you'd like to ask me a question, just tweet it to my handle @BrookeAlvarez or post it to my Facebook wall.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the 3rd hour of the program. You can dial in here toll free, take control of the airwaves. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. In the studio with you tonight, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
We're going to continue with more of your calls and thoughts. Is the movie business going to even survive the COVID crackdown? I mean, how long could you keep your business around if you couldn't pay the rent for 5, 6,
Well, the movie
7
business will survive.
months?
The question is whether the
theaters, though.
The live
theaters.
screening to a mass audience business will survive.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. I was just mentioning right before we went to the news break there that the local movie theater, in a bid to try to stay relevant, and I think it's a smart move. Mark, you were just marveling over the list of classic movies that they're playing there.
Every Back to the Future,
Jaws.
every Raiders of the Lost Ark, every Harry
Batman.
Potter. There's Jaws, Batman,
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Evidently, the original Halloween.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that one on their original list, so they must have just recently added that.
And I would point out Jaws, also one of the most important horror movies out there.
I would have gone to see
I
it.
would call that suspense.
I've never seen it.
Right.
I've never seen Jaws, and I would have gone, but you have to wear a mask to get into the lobby of the movie theater, and I'm not going to do it. In fact, we even tried to go. It was Aria and I and a friend of yours who showed up. So we had 3 people, and the idea was, well, what will they say if there's a group of people without a mask who want to buy tickets? You know, given that there's only one person in the theater in a lot of these theaters, and it's not just Carlos, who was on last night, who said that. There's another activist friend of ours, Will, who's been to, he says, several of these movies, and the only one that he's been to so far that had more than just him in the theater was, I think, Empire Strikes Back, and there were 3 people in the theater. So there's not a huge demand for people to go back to these movie theaters, even though it was actually during the Fork Fest and the Porcupine Freedom Festival, we were talking about how it was actually Jurassic Park was once again the #1 box office generator in early July. It was only $500,000 that they generated, but they did that with like 250 screens because most theaters aren't open at all. So of those theaters that were open and showing these classic movies, it was actually Jurassic Park once again.
That's exciting. That's fun to say.
Pretty cool. It was a cool story. Let's go to Kirby. He's on the line in Indianapolis. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Kirby.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey, Kirby.
We will not have an economy at all this time next year. I've been listening to it all night. Airlines are going to go out of business. Buses are going to go out of business. Movie theaters, they're dead.
Wait a minute. You think buses will go out of business too? I mean, because if the airlines go out of business, people got to get somewhere somehow. I think more people will be riding Greyhound.
People are going to drive, but Greyhound and Trailways, I can't see them staying in business when your bus will only hold at maximum 50 or 60 people, and now they're going to tell you you have to cut that in half.
Yeah,
they're not going to be able to stay in business. The local restaurants here, they have to close at 11 o'clock. You know, I got off work last Friday, and there's a bar right up the street from where I work, and I usually stop in there after work and grab a burger and a beer. They closed at 11 o'clock on a Friday night.
Is this because of a curfew? Why are they closing so early?
Yeah, because our governor issued an order on the 27th. Basically, it said you have to wear a mask, even outdoors. Bars have to close at 11 o'clock. And the very next day, however, our attorney general wrote a letter, posted it online, saying that this is illegal. You cannot do that. That's ruling by fiat. If you want to do this, you have to call a special session of the General Assembly. I've actually talked to a few cops, which is something I'm loath to do, but I needed information. And they've advised me they're not going to enforce this because there's nothing for them to write up. This is maddening.
Yeah. So hold on. The governor said, I just want to make sure I'm following you. The governor said there's a mask mandate and bars have to close at 11 o'clock. The attorney general said just the bar part was illegal, or the mask mandate was also illegal?
He said the mask mandate was illegal, period. Everything that the governor said on the 27th was illegal, period.
But are the bars open again, or are they staying closed?
No, they're scared. Yep. They close at 11 o'clock.
That's all it takes.
So even though the top cop comes out and says that this is an illegal order, they're still scared?
Yeah, I mean, this is a country that's been free of a dictator for close to 250 years now, and people still want to flock around a strong man, whomever it might be.
Pathetic.
Yeah, you know, like Rage Against the Machine said, when they say jump, you say how high.
That's how it is. That's totally
exactly what's going on. And I know I told you last week that we had gone from freedom to tyranny overnight.
Well,
and and I appreciate that because you were right. We weren't in a free state to begin with.
No, we weren't.
If we were,
they've been laying the groundwork for this.
Right now.
They've been laying the groundwork for this for generations. This has been, decades and decades. They've been pounding this obedience into people's heads. Just moments ago, during one of the breaks, I was having a conversation on text message with a local business owner who is frustrated as hell with a lot of these regulations that they're talking about. Now, they haven't passed a mask mandate here in Keene, New Hampshire yet,
but it doesn't matter.
They're
about to pass an encouragement, right? Encouraging people to wear masks.
And they were talking about a mandate.
They were, but they pulled it back because Nashua got sued over theirs.
No. Are you talking about them pulling it back again? Because they pulled it back once.
It's not a mandate. It's an encouragement. It's being called a mandate.
But they've been talking about doing a mandate recently. Like
the language of the bill
week.
is that it encourages people
They're coming
to wear
out
masks.
with a new one this week.
Yes, it's an encouragement, not a mandate. But
You've read the newest version as of like last week / this week? Because they had a meeting last week.
I'm going off of what Filio has said about it, and he's the guy who wrote it.
When did you hear it from him?
It was a Sentinel source.
When?
I don't recall.
Like within the last few days or within the last couple months?
Well, he's not going to propose a mandate while the city of Nashua is being sued over theirs.
They won the first court hearing.
Did they?
Yep. So that's why it came back. And now they're talking about making it a mandate again. So some business owners are understandably upset about this. This business owner tells me that I'm not going to say he or she, but this person does not want to fight with customers over masks. This person says that bars and restaurants are bound to close. And I said, well, if you're going to close, all the more reason to just do what you want and run your business the way you think will work. Business owners should be free to say whatever policies they want and let the market decide. But that would get in the way of politicians' obsession with control and obedience. And the business owner replies by saying, they will take my license and permits to do business.
But if she's going to close anyway.
That's why I said
or if he's going to close anyway.
Right. That's why I said, right. But if they're going to put you under, you have nothing to lose. And also, some people have had tremendous support shown by those who appreciate a business standing up against the gang. There was the barber in Michigan and the salon owner in Dallas. I think she raised $500,000. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen again, or that same level of support will come for somebody who might own a bar or a restaurant or something like that. But yeah, Kirby, you're absolutely right. These poor business owners, they've been so beaten down. They've been turned so obedient. Now you've got bar owners in Indianapolis who could open past 11 o'clock, are not doing it simply because they're uncertain or scared or whatever. And it's sad. I mean, well, I guess they figured out that COVID is only dangerous after 11 p.m., right? That's it?
I suppose so. It's just it's heartbreaking to me, man.
Now you can't get a burger after work.
True, but it's just heartbreaking to me because the businesses that are truly being hurt are mom and pop.
Yeah, right. Burger King's going to be fine.
Burger King, because they got a drive-through. White Castle's going to be just fine. But like a friend of mine, he owns a couple of restaurants. He's doing no business, none.
Carlos, the guy that's visiting, said he was in the drive-thru at KFC Taco Bell for 45 minutes.
I didn't know they were open. I thought they had closed.
Wow. No, they remodeled. They're back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kirby. Thanks for sharing that sad story tonight. Keep us in the loop with what's going on out there in Indianapolis and in Indiana, because it's crazy there, too, it sounds like. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So Kirby's saying things are going to be way worse a year from now. And he might be right. 855-450-FREE. They don't seem to be backing off of this COVID crackdown. If anything, it's getting worse in most places across the United States. What's it like where you are? It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us on the radio. If you want to talk about how crazy things are getting, it's not getting better in a lot of places. And I'm not talking about the coronavirus. People are fine as far as coronavirus is concerned. A few people have died, whatever. That's what happens in life. You take risks and then you die. But the government goons have been cracking down, and the crackdowns appear to be getting worse in a lot of places. We just had Kirby on the line in Indianapolis saying that there is a curfew for bars. Now, bars have to shut down after 11 p.m. at night. And that's because the governor said so, but then the AG, Attorney General, said no, the governor's making illegal orders, but yet the bars are still shutting down because they're still afraid, and it's just a culture of fear that is all over the place, and it's not getting better. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. Great place to go to learn about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and cryptocurrency in general. Recommend Bitcoin.com for anybody that's brand new to cryptocurrency. And you know what? It's not too late to get involved. I mean, Bitcoin has had a major jump in just the last week. It has gone from around $92 to $9,500 to like $11,200. I think is like where it's at right now. And it was a relatively quick jump. I think it took like a day or so to shoot up by almost $2,000.
And anyone who took my advice back in March or April or May, whenever it was when I told people to take that $1,200 stimulus check and use it to buy gold or cryptocurrency, has made at least $200 off of that.
Either one of them, you're doing good.
Send your thanks to tips.freetalklive.com.
I don't know if that exists.
Which one is it? What is it? Bitcoin.freetalklive.com?
That'll get you to our Bitcoin wallets. Yeah, that's for sure. So let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts. We have Daryl. He's calling from San Francisco. Daryl, are you guys still locked down out there? What's going on in old San Fran?
Hardly nobody walks the street in downtown San Francisco on Market Street. There's hardly anybody walking downtown.
Wow.
And everybody downtown in San Francisco talks to me and tells me, the president should listen to these doctors who are saying that oxychloroquine can cure this mess. The oxychloroquine can. A lot of doctors are on BitChute saying that oxychloroquine can actually solve some of this COVID-19 crisis.
And you're referring to the doctors who are on BitChute, which is a video sharing service.
Yes.
The reason they're there is because YouTube and Twitter have been targeting their accounts and taking them offline, correct?
Right. Yeah. I have it saved on my phone, BitChute. There's like thousands of doctors are coming forward and saying that they found that oxychloroquine has actually they cured people with this stuff, with this virus.
I know that Gene, the Christian anarchist who works as a manager at a doctor's office, his wife is the doctor, has called and spoken of this hydroxychloroquine on multiple occasions, and he seems to believe that it can be effective.
Yeah, I've heard people say that it's effective. It seems to have become yet another political football. And
somebody must be pressuring the president not to use oxychloroquine.
Well, President Trump was one of the early supporters of hydroxychloroquine. Yeah. And, it's becoming really hard not to be a conspiracy theorist in today's time, because my first thought right after I said that is, what if the entire political apparatus had Trump say that so the American public would turn against it and instead would linger around in their homes waiting on this vaccine to be pushed onto them?
So then why isn't the United Nations listening to these doctors to use oxychloroquine to cure the coronavirus?
They don't really care about a cure. They care about control.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it's working apparently in San Francisco. I mean, you're saying no one still this long after the initial lockdown, people are still behaving as though they're locked down.
Nobody's in the movie theater. Nobody's in the mall. Nobody's on Market Street.
Are they even open? Like, are businesses open? Like, what's it like?
Yes, in San Francisco, all the businesses are still barely running. Macy's is always doing good. Union Square is the tourist capital.
How's the poop in the streets? Is that lessened a little bit, or is that worse now than ever?
These fools still shitting on the
street.
Oh,
man. You shouldn't have said that. I tried to not use that word, so maybe he would follow, but no. He was saying they're still essing in the streets, by the way. That's what we had to drop out there. 855-450-FREE. Yes, we are on the radio, and unfortunately, even though Donald Trump can say the F word in public, and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, can say the F word in public, and then it gets reported on in the news that they're saying the F word. You still can't say it on the radio because, well, political class is more important than the rest of us.
And I cannot get over the notion that we live in a world where people think that 12-year-old boys have a transistor radio up to their ear while they are under their covers listening to Free Talk Live on their local AM station. I mean... What?
Well, maybe they think they're listening on the internet now or something like that. I don't know.
Look, we could go on the internet right now and we could drop all the F-bombs we want.
True.
Those 12-year-old boys, should they wish to see things more unspeakably vile, can go find it.
No, Mark, because they have to click a button that says they're 18 years old.
Ah, right.
And they would never think to click that button.
Mature content only.
Yeah. So... Anyway,
ridiculous.
I don't know why radio still has a prohibition on naughty words, but I will say this: if I was a news talk station, there would be a standard that I would have as far as verbiage, because somebody out there is offended by the S word and they don't want to hear it, or the F word or whatever, and they don't want to hear it. They want to listen to content that doesn't have that. And we do get compliments now and then as Free Talk Live that people can listen to the show in their cars with their kids and not to have to hear the words.
So if you want to join the show, you can. Just don't say the F word, the S word, and a couple other words that are not allowed. 855-450-FREE is our number. That's 855-450-3733. Because I remember in the beginning of the whole COVID crackdown thing back in like February or March or whenever it was San Francisco that was the leading the way in crackdown maximumness. Like they had the biggest crackdown, California City specifically, and of course California is one of those places where it's definitely not getting better as far as the crackdown is concerned. They're coming up with more restrictions and more rules and more, hoops for business owners and individuals to jump through, and why shouldn't they? It seems like people like this stuff. They like to be told what to do. They want to feel like they're safe. They put on masks even though there's really probably not much that they're doing with them except signaling to others that they care about safety.
I think that masks on the indoors, especially if you're going to be there for a while, are a good idea. And it's certainly a good idea if you're just talking to people
So you
face-to-face.
think people should wear them inside their homes?
Look, you got to make your own decisions, but no would be my answer.
Okay, well, you just said indoors it would be a good idea if you're talking to
in
people
your
for a while.
home and indoors are two different things.
Okay.
So
most of the time I'm indoors when I'm home.
Right. If you're going,
and I'm also more likely to talk to people for a while if I'm home with them.
If you're going to go do social interactions with people outside of your household under the cover of roof with walls, I recommend masks.
They are talking about having mandates for people inside their homes. Or at the very least, they're asking them to wear masks inside their homes in some places.
Hey, look, I don't follow rules because politicians give them. I wear a seatbelt, not because it's illegal in 49 states not to. I wear a seatbelt in New Hampshire, the only state in the union where you don't have to, because it's a good idea.
855-450-FREE. I am not convinced that wearing masks is a good idea.
And you're not a doctor.
I don't care.
You're just
even if I were.
Recalcitrant talk show
I'm
host.
somebody who actually, likes humans, and I like humanity, and I think the masks are a detriment to that. And I know I'm not alone on that. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Another 83 tons in fake gold found in China. Crypto still much harder to counterfeit. Host Stefan Molyneux banned from YouTube. Receives $100,000 in crypto donations afterward. Reporters uncover $11 trillion in offshore government-sanctioned bank accounts. Bitcoin Cash still potentially private and unconfiscatable. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's now been 7 days since a group of hikers went missing in Maine's Acadia National Park. The rescue crews there are still holding out hope of finding them alive. Autistic reporter Michael Falk is on the scene there. Michael.
Hello, Brooke. My socks got wet. That cameraman gave me new socks. I am fine.
That's good, Michael, but what's the situation there?
The names of the hikers are Casey Allman, Brian Emery, Ashley Thorson. The hikers were last seen 174 hours ago. Since then, 3 very big storms have hit here. There's a 1.24% chance that all of the hikers are alive. Why are you looking for the hikers?
Well, we're still hopeful that we might be able to find them. There's been a break in the weather, so we're hoping that...
Over the past 7 days, the average high temperature has been 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the past 7 days, the average low temperature has been 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. So we did another sweep of the park from the air, but we didn't see anything.
Without shelter, the human body can withstand temperatures this cold for a maximum of 3 hours. Is there shelter in the forest for the hikers?
Not that we know of.
They are frozen.
Well, we like it.
This is the Onion News Network.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. Tonight in the studio, it's Ian.
Aria.
Ed Bark.
We're going to continue with more of your calls and thoughts. Also, want to say thanks to Nathan Dank, the amplifier of the night, that we like to highlight our Free Talk Live amplifiers. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Nathan is a platinum level amplifier, which means he's contributing $25 a month to the Free Talk Live AMP program, and that's really appreciated. We ask for 5, so he's doing 5 times what we ask for. So thank you, Nathan, for backing us up and helping us get on more radio stations around the country. We really do appreciate it. It makes a big difference. Everybody that supports the AMP program. You can do it with your PayPal or credit card, debit card, or Bitcoin BTC at amp.freetalklive.com. Although these days with the Bitcoin fees going up so insane, I don't remember the last time we had a Bitcoin subscriber.
I paid a $5 fee earlier today.
I paid a $7 fee earlier today to send some Bitcoin. Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not alone.
I think we're going to start seeing more interest in the altcoins real soon. Yeah. Because
that's how it happened last time.
Yeah, I think so. So we continue with your calls, your thoughts. We got Jenny. She's calling us from Vegas, listening online via Twitch. Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, first I wanted to say to Aria that I saw your talk on Free Keen about buying and selling Bitcoin Cash, so I really appreciated that, and I'm going to start doing that. I've been doing Bitcoin and Monero, but now I'm going to. Your talk helped me, so thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, so
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you guys about, I don't like wearing these masks. My husband won't wear them. We're libertarians. You guys know us from, we've been up there. But anyway, so I was in Albertsons, and what I do is just to get the food. I know I should be better than that, but to get the food, I just put the mask sort of halfway up. So last night I'm in Albertsons, and I'm in the checkout lane, and there's this lady in the next checkout lane, and I look at her, and she keeps putting this mask up over her nose, like pointing to me, like so that I need to pull, like I just keep the mask down, like,
Now, hold on. Before you go on, Jenny, is this lady in the other lane, is she another customer or an employee?
Yeah, she's another customer, so there's 2 checkout lanes going. She's a customer, and she has her the blue medical mask, and she keeps pointing at me and telling me to pull my mask up over my nose. And I at first I wasn't, so I quit looking at her, but then I kept looking at her, and then I decided, okay, I've had it. I said, hey, you, I said, don't tell me what to do. What's wrong with you? I said, you know nothing about me. I said, it's hard for me to breathe. I have asthma. So what's wrong with you? And then that started a whole big thing. So the guy, and I don't want to, I'm not racist or anything, but I want to say that this.
Here it comes.
No, guys. No. What I'm saying is that everybody in line of different races supported me. So the guy in front of me, who is Latin, pulls his mask down and he turns around and he says loudly, this is all ooh, BS for
Thank you.
everyone, don't you? And then a lady behind me is in a wheelchair, and she goes, I thought she was talking to me, and she shows me like she has a breathing problem too, and she goes, this is all, I can't believe this. And then I get up to the line finally, and the lady in the checkout at Albertsons said, yeah, I just don't agree with this on anything, and we're all talking. And what happened is that guy who called you before was from the Breitbart, the doctors, the Cameroon doctors said that, the mass studies didn't work and all that. So everybody had just heard that on Twitter, of which they've been now pulled off of Twitter. But everybody turned around, and then I actually told I told the lady behind me, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to register Democrat and make sure that I am in the mail ballot counting room so that they don't cheat. And then another guy, too, behind me takes his mask off. Yeah, that's cool. Do that. And I'm not saying I'm for Trump, because I'm not, but
right.
I just don't want this mail ballot.
Wow, what an interesting situation where some busybody tries to crack down on you for not wearing a mask, and then 5 other people surrounding you take your side and everybody pulls their masks down. Man, that must have made that lady crap her pants.
Yeah, and you know what? It made me feel good because I just hate going to the store, and I hate looking at people in their cars with their masks on.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much obedience. Like, even the people around you were doing what they were told until they had the opportunity to feel like they could express themselves and their frustration, and then it all came out at once. But this woman felt like she was around people who understood, right? Because she's surrounded by other mask-wearing people, so she presumes that all the people wearing masks are as afraid as she is, whereas the reality, they're afraid of the government. They're not afraid of COVID. They're wearing the mask because they've been told they're going to get arrested or fined or whatever by the police if they don't. But she made the presumption that she just jumped to the conclusion, oh, well, people are wearing masks, so they'll back me up. Well, turns out none of them agreed with her. That's a really interesting story.
No, and the lady behind me said, and she's the one in the wheelchair, she says, I actually only wear this because I don't want to be harassed by other people. But there's
Isn't that sad?
There's this libertarian that my husband has pointed to me called EricPetersAutos.com. He runs an automobile site, but he has politics on libertarianism.
Mm-hmm.
And every day he runs what he calls the diaper report, the face diaper report. And he refuses to wear a mask, and he writes about his feelings every day. And so we posted my story on that, and he was really happy.
Very
about
cool.
that.
Jenny, thank you for sharing that.
He said everybody needs to do this.
I agree.
Encourage other people.
I agree. The first step is to not wear one in the first place. Jenny, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. But I understand why people are afraid. I mean, there are men with guns out there who are threatening you, and I mean the police. In Miami, they now have a police task force they've created with 39 cops on it whose sole job is to go around and give people tickets. For not wearing masks. Yeah, for not wearing masks.
Now, my opinion is that people shouldn't have to wear masks if they don't want to wear masks, and you should decide for your own business how you want your customers to come in.
That would be like freedom.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to wear masks, and best I can tell, they seem to, from the studies that I've read, and
I haven't seen you wearing a mask in quite a long time.
I only wear them when I go into businesses. I'm not going to do it when I'm in here. I'm on the
Okay.
You can't talk to that on the radio.
I know you can't do it in here, but I mean, I don't generally see you out and about wearing masks.
I have a...
You didn't wear one at Curry Indian today.
No, I didn't. You're right. I expected it to be pretty light in there, but if I were to go into a grocery store, which is, the
Chris
rare
did.
instance that I make it into a grocery store.
Chris
Wade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does wear the mask. Let's continue here. Michael is in Amityville, New York. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Michael.
What a boring call, but it's your kind of caller, isn't it, Mark?
You're not starting
So
as a
you're
winner
in
here.
new Amityville, unfortunately. I was going to ask, oh, it's a horror movie fan. Are you in old Amityville or new Amityville? And you're clearly in the
Drag
new one.
Queen James, I'd be happy to answer that question. Have you ever seen a real horror movie with Mark Edgington's dead victim in it?
Jesus
the star of the
Christ.
show.
I thought for a moment you were going to actually be interesting and talk about movies and be kind of fun, but what was I thinking? I just see the best in
disappointed
people.
that was James.
Yeah, man. I was looking forward to another movie conversation with somebody that it was actually, interesting to talk to. But sadly, it was just James. 8:55.
James is the ultimate horror movie, though. So there is that.
4:53 is going to Well, anyway, let's just go on. So we were talking about movies with Universal and AMC coming to an agreement. The big question here, as Business Insider points out, is what does this mean for the other movie chains? Because the deal's only between Universal, which is one production company, and AMC, which is one theater chain.
It obviously means they're going to swallow it because they have to.
It means all of those other movie companies are going to come to AMC and be like, hey, we want that same deal, or we're going to start our own streaming service.
Right, they've all got the weight to throw around. But what about Regal Cinemas? What about the other cinemas? What are they going to do?
Well, hold on. So if Universal brings its own app out or something like Disney did, wouldn't they be able to direct stream like?
But they may have agreements in place with the other theaters. So they cut their theatrical window with AMC down to 17 days. But if they already have an agreement in place for 75 days with Regal Cinemas, then it's still 75 days.
And screw the little guy who owns a cinema in a small town. Yeah, he's just out of luck.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join Free Talk Live, you are welcome to do that. Take control of the airwaves here. What is it like where you live? Is there any sanity where you're at? This is Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Hey, survival gardeners. Garden soil isn't what it used to be. In fact, many gardens are farmed out and some are functionally dead. That means adding back the right trace minerals to your soil can immediately catapult your garden fertility, which means, quite naturally, better tasting and more nutritionally dense fruits and vegetables. So if you got your garden in late and want to help your fruits and vegetables play catch up, or you simply want to pour on the trace elements to maximize this year's harvest, I've got good news. It's not too late to give everything you've got growing this year in your garden a powerful, life-renewing turbo boost. And the best part? This unique product creates a type of trace mineral synergy, which means that each mineral and trace element in the formula makes all the other minerals and trace elements much more effective than if they were used alone. Go to cmazing.net to turbo boost your garden. That's cmazing.net. Improve flavor, increase your harvest. Go to cmazing.net.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up whatever you want in these remaining moments. How insane is it where you are? Are things getting worse with these mask crackdowns that have been going on and seemingly getting worse? At least that's the way it looks like from the outside here. Luckily, we're in New Hampshire, which arguably is one of the better places to be during this insanity.
Well, our bars are open.
Yes, and they appear to be open regular hours, and people are not wearing masks. Have you seen any masks in the bars that you've been going to? Because I know you go to more than the Thirsty Owl.
No.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
No, I hit up Cobble and Lab and Lager,
No
preferably
masks.
Lab.
Are the staff wearing masks?
I don't want to get them in trouble.
Okay, all right. Well, at the place
so
I go,
my
they're
answer
not.
is yes, of course they are.
At the place I go, they're not, and it makes me happy that they're not.
Yeah, it's hard to drink a beer with a mask over your face.
Well, yeah, but the bartenders aren't drinking beers.
That's true.
Nope, they just have to be in a place for hours and hours. Like that's the thing that about these mask things that it's hard to imagine what it would be like to be an employee at a place where you've got to do this for 10 hours
You
a
mean
day.
wear a mask?
Yeah.
Imagine doing it for 10 hours in an 85-degree kitchen.
Well, I can't imagine it's any better.
Or
that's
while
for sure.
loading tractor trailers.
Yeah.
Or unloading them.
Well,
or
if you're-
working
It's awful.
or working in a warehouse with no AC.
Yeah.
In Mississippi in 97-degree middle of July, late July.
At least a warehouse is going to have the fans running, like blowing a lot of air in and blowing a lot of air out. So that
that's just ventilation, though. That doesn't help with the temperature.
I understand. What I'm saying is that I would be less likely to wear a mask were I in a highly ventilated building.
That's the problem, though. Is they don't have a choice. They don't get to go, well, this is highly ventilated. There's no point in me wearing a mask here.
The only choice is to leave.
Yeah.
To quit the job.
And most of these people need their jobs.
But then where else are you going to go? Because most of them are going to require you to wear a damn mask.
Yep.
Because it's a corporate medical authoritarian state that we are living in. And it's so crazy, it's so bizarre, and people are going to jail. Here's an update on the New Jersey story, which we touched on it here and there, but we never really got into detail about the shop in Jersey, which was like a gym, actually, that was defying the mandates to stay closed during the earlier portion of the COVID-19 crackdown there in Jersey. They were arrested Monday.
Oh.
On contempt charges. According to WashingtonTimes.com, Ian Smith of Delanco Township, he's 33, and Frank Trimbetti, age 51, of Williamstown, were charged with obstruction and violating the Disaster Control Act. They operated the Atlas Gym in Belmar. That's a funny spelled word.
It doesn't sound like the Disaster Control Act would be something that the average citizen would have to obey. It sounds like it's something that would authorize the governor to make up all kinds of rules and regulations, but the act itself wouldn't apply to the ordinary citizen. I haven't. I just said it sounds like.
Yeah, so the act, because it authorizes the governor, I'm presuming it's what authorizes the governor. They have similar things in other places where they essentially have these emergency authorizations to where the governor can make these emergency orders, and if you violate the emergency order, it's almost always a misdemeanor.
Yeah, and usually, like, if you're just a schmo wandering around without a mask on, they're not going to do anything to you. But the people they really want to keep in line...
Mark is not giving out legal advice. They may very well do something to you, depending on where you are.
But they're not as likely. The people they really want to keep in line are the business owners, because they're the ones who are already in line.
Yep.
They're marching lockstep to the drummer that the state's drummer, and if they let any of them out of line... they expect the unwashed masses to act like a bunch of hooligans. Not a surprise, but their businesses they cannot let do that.
Right, and the business owners are deathly afraid of losing their license, as we cited a conversation I was having with one of them earlier tonight. So they use that, they dangle it over their heads, and they get almost total compliance. So these guys were heroes because they kept operating their gym. They allowed their customers who wanted to take whatever the risk was of going to the gym to come in and go to the damn gym. In fact, the same thing happened here in Keene. It just didn't get headlines. There was a gym here that was quietly letting their customers in. They'd put newspaper up over the door and the window, and they would let their customers come through the door, come in and work out, go home. Everything was fine until
Probably just some of their customers, not all of their customers.
Somebody snitched them out.
Yep.
Some Karen.
Yeah, it probably wasn't their customers either. Somebody was probably watching, or they knew that their friend was going to the gym, or their family member or whatever was going to the gym, and they snitched them out, and the cops came, and they threatened the owners of the gym, and the owners closed the gym down, and they apparently moved it to another more isolated location, so it's apparently still around, but it's no longer in the visible spot where it was
So it's
before.
a speakeasy gym?
It was.
Yeah.
Yep. But in the case of Jersey, these guys were making headlines. The two men were processed at the police headquarters. They and their attorney were not commenting, were not able to be reached. State judge had ruled Friday that the New Jersey authorities could shut down a gym and authorize the state health department to put locks on the doors or put up barriers to ensure compliance. The gym had opened its doors in May, starting a legal battle over whether Murphy's order for non-essential, that's the governor, for non-essential businesses to remain closed was constitutional. The gym continued to operate despite receiving summonses each day for violating the state order.
Nice.
Crowds of people often showed up to show their support for the gym.
Yeah, that's why they have to chop their heads off.
Last week, Murphy allowed outdoor drills for contact sports to resume, as well as one-on-one indoor martial arts and yoga instruction, but gyms have remained ordered closed.
Yeah, if you can imagine jiu-jitsu, and a lot of places that, according to what they're saying there, jiu-jitsu studios all across New Jersey are shut down.
It says here one-on-one indoor martial arts are allowed.
One-on-one indoor martial arts.
So you could have a single training with somebody, right?
Right. You could have a personal class, but usually jiu-jitsu is done in groups of 20 or more.
So one-on-one martial arts, that's okay, but a solitary act of being in a gym working out, that's not okay.
Yeah, it's strange.
If you really care
There's
about
no logic. You're trying to look for logic in government action.
It's insane. and again, if you really care about corona, COVID, all that, then stay home.
Yep.
Or bring your cleaning supplies and wipe down all the gym equipment before you get on it if you want to be ultra paranoid and still go to the gym.
Right, and you could run the fans in a gym and maybe exchange the air better or something like that. There's things that could be done in a gym to make it a more hospitable place to work out, but they're just saying no.
The gym owners say they've taken steps to ensure social distancing, including taping off workout stations and operating at 20% of the building's capacity.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. They say they were also requiring patrons to wear masks unless they were in the middle of lifting weights and taking the patrons' temperatures at the door. I
sounds like they jumped through every hoop they could possibly have jumped through.
I don't think they could have been more invasive on their customers.
Yeah.
Let's go to David. He's in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. What's going on down there?
Fort Sumner, that county that I said you guys should have moved your freedom movement to because you could have the whole county to yourself. I was wrong. It isn't a population of 2,000. It's a population of 13 or 1,400. I learned that today because they are one of the 38 counties, only 38 counties in the U.S. that have no COVID cases.
Huh.
And it's that's the county. Debaca County is the county where Pat Garrett shot down Billy the Kid.
Really?
That's where he's buried. Yeah.
Do they got a Walmart?
Have that whole county to. Who needs a Walmart? Who wants a Walmart?
Just wondering.
Just wondering. Keep that Walmart out of my town, boy.
All right, David. What else?
No. Unfortunately, New Mexico is no longer. I'm sorry, Albuquerque is no longer number one as of today.
Number one in
corruption,
traffic fatalities,
auto theft. Bakersfield is now the winner. They are the number
California?
one. Yeah, Bakersfield, California. That Bakersfield sound, that's a hammer hammering at your ignition set and on your steering column. That's the Bakersfield
I
sound.
wouldn't even know how you would go about beginning to steal a car.
A new car?
Days. I wouldn't even have any idea. I mean, my car starts without a key.
Right.
I can tell you, I had to steal my own car one time. I just took a hammer and a chisel to it and started hacking at the ignition set until I got enough material off and the thing would turn without a key.
Yeah, that was probably a long time ago. When was that?
Yeah, that would have been before 2000 at least.
Yeah, it was an old. It was what was it? I don't know, like a 92 Ford. No, 92.
You probably need some sort of fancy hacker set now, Mark, with like RFID or something like that.
You got to plug into that little thing up underneath the dash and that sort of thing.
David, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. Of course, we got plenty more to come tomorrow. You can join us between now and then online. In the meantime, we are at freetalklive.com. And maybe tomorrow night we'll talk about suicide because apparently, surprise, they're up. And apparently they're killing.
That sounds like a depressing thing to forecast the next show.
Yeah.
Surprise!
We're going to talk about killing yourself. See you tomorrow. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com. Or maybe we won't.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999. And ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Making it mandatory. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi now ordering all lawmakers and staff to wear face coverings while in the House chamber.
The chair would further inform members and staff that they will not be permitted to enter the hall of the House without wearing a mask. Masks will be available at the entry points for any member who forgets to bring one.
House members will be allowed to remove their mask when they're recognized on the House floor. The move coming after Texas Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert tested positive for COVID-19. Gohmert is frequently seen around the Capitol not wearing a mask.
Now that I apparently have it, I will be very, very careful to make sure I don't give it to anybody else. And we'll see how it goes.
Gohmert, a member of the Judiciary Committee, took part in yesterday's hearing with Attorney General William Barr. Barr's office says he was tested today and the result was negative. The Supreme Court says Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is resting comfortably after undergoing a medical procedure at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City. The 87-year-old justice is expected to be released by the end of the week. Amazon's Jeff Bezos, just one of the tech CEOs who appeared before a House panel today defending the accusations questions that his company is squeezing out the competition.
Amazon accounts for less than 1% of the $25 trillion global retail market and less than 4% of U.S. retail. There's room in retail for multiple winners. We compete against large, established players like Target, Costco, Kroger, and, of course, Walmart, a company more than twice Amazon's size.
And Bezos told lawmakers his company decided to allow third-party sellers because it would be better for customers. Apple's Tim Cook and Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg also appeared for the virtual hearing. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 five-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The state of Tennessee says 145 of its 147 districts will be open for in-person learning in September. Education Commissioner Penny Schwinn says they can keep students and staff safe.
We are going to be distributing 80,000 kits to classroom teachers that cover the year's supply of hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, disinfecting wipes so people can stay safe and get back to school.
The nation's largest teachers union says its members will walk off the job if they don't feel safe returning to classrooms. A suburban Chicago woman has pled guilty to a federal labor charge for helping several people from Guatemala enter the U.S., then forbidding them from leaving her home until they paid off their debt to her. Concepcion Malinek has pled guilty to one count of labor trafficking. She admitted in a plea declaration she assisted 10 Guatemalan immigrants with illegally entering the U.S. from 2009 to 2019. Prosecutors say she forced most of the immigrants to live in her basement, arranged for them to work in a factory, then took most of the money from their paychecks. When she was arrested last year, authorities say they found 33 people living in her single-family home. Just as it opened for fall testing registration, the ACT website went down.
Well, the ACT website opened registration on Monday for September and October testing. It crashed, or as ACT officials say on their website, shut down due to high demand. And to please check back for updates. That to parents and future college students whose ACT tests have been delayed for months over the coronavirus. It prompted one mom on Twitter to say, ACT, you've had months to prepare for this. What score would you give yourself? Another saying, ACT, you're messing with children's lives. Phones are also down, with ACT officials saying to expect some sort of update today. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Wall Street, the Dow added 160. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
This is William Chambers. Now a retired insurance salesman, Chambers is just one of over 95% of grandfathers who, according to a new report from the Center of Business Intelligence, secured their first and only job by walking right up to the owner of a business and asking for a position right then and there.
I slammed my fist on the desk and said, I'm your man. He stood right up. He shook my hand and he said, you come in first thing Monday morning.
According to the report, nearly 36% of grandfathers claimed that they found employment by entering a local business with nothing but a nickel in their pockets and a shirt on their backs. 24% saw a fine-looking marquee for a business and said, someday my name's going to be on that sign. And 40% of grandfathers said they snuck into the CEO's office and said, Mr. McKinley, sir, I'm your guy.
It just took gumption. You didn't need some fancy internship. Looking the boss dead in the eye and showing him you were a man. That was your internship.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Welcome back. Welcome to Declare Your Independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, oops. Nope, not Phoenix. Annaker, New Hampshire. You know, well, Donna and I are going to be leaving this afternoon. We're going to go ahead and go to State College to visit with Donna's parents. They're getting older, you know, and decisions need to be made about where they live and different things and health and so on. You know, people our age. I'm 59. She's 58. You know, a lot of my friends, you know, they're having parents that needing help or passing and, you know, transfer of wealth. That the man wants everything. You know, I'm very interested in the future, and my whole focus is on grandkids. You know, always was. Even when we had children, it was, you know, you're just conduits for grandchildren. So it's been great to have your kids work with you on raising grandchildren. How awesome is that? That you raise children to be parents. I mean, when does that ever happen? And is that a skill that's taught? Hell no. You know, Grandma, Grandpa, and Lord God, King Bufu of all they survey as the government. You know, and they want to explain it to you. You know, one thing I didn't do in high school, there was a class that I didn't take. A lot of my friends did, and I probably should have. And it was called, it was an elective, and it was real life or home, whatever the heck, be an adult 101 or something. And it was a longer class. It was one of those that did a double class. It was a 2-hour double session thing. And they taught you things like, you know, balancing checkbooks and doing. But this is in the late 70s. And, you know, I didn't take it, but I respected the people that did. And I was like, cool. You know, that's, you know, I had other focuses, but at least it existed. I'm wondering if that kind of stuff even exists now. And if it did, how woke are they? I mean, you know, what is it you're learning? This is happening now everywhere. You start to see it pop up. Now, keep in mind, for an entire paradigm shift in America, you've had this slow ebbing creep of socialism. And it's been pretty obvious, and people kind of blew it off, and it doesn't matter, don't care, doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden you find out everybody with a shiny badge, a clipboard, a badge, and a gun, you know, and the fine hat, of course, you know, they have already taken over the mind in the public mind, what they want to be general common public opinion. Well, it's you see a lot of things. There's news of actors guilds that, you know, and producers and so on that are starting their own studios. They're going to start doing their own movies. They're making their own films. And the one thing is, when you push, there's a pushback. From what? I tell you what a lot of it is. It's spiritual. It's God. It's going to be, whatever your definition of that is, it's throughout history and throughout all cultures, throughout all religions, throughout all, what would you call it? Philosophies. There's a higher power, the great spirit, you know, the all-knowing, all-seeing, whatever the heck it is. It's and it's a personal thing. You know, it's when you're quiet, when you're camping, when you're outside, when it's dark, when it's light, when it's beautiful, When you're just relaxed in a good state of mind, you commune with the internal voice. Is it yourself? Is it in your mind? Of course it's in your mind. Where else would it be? That's one thing I get atheist friends. They go, well, we can go on as long as you just, you'll admit that God's only in your mind. And I'm going, well, where else would it be? I mean, what am I going to do? Call him on the phone? So this is, I guess, 1-800 talk to God or something. But, I'm sure there's something out there. My whole view on this is that I from high school, I wanted to, it came across my radar screen, and it was, you don't want to die with regret. Because we all die alone. I mean, in the end, it's, you're gasping for air at the end, or by you're it's great to be around with family, and it's really more for them, I think, than for yourself. But when you pass, on your deathbed, the last thoughts is, what didn't you do? The regret. I don't want, regret sucks. I don't want to have any regret. And that's one thing when we go back to, on the road for a year, and we go back and we try and, this is the plan. And this is what we're going to be talking in our second hour about. The plan is that, as the prices of land and such, you would think, I don't mean it's going to have, whatever I think, it usually, stuff happens. But you think that you're going to be able to buy cheap land, your alternative resources, whatever you accumulate, a big giant load of scrap iron or copper or, precious metals or crypto or whatever the heck, you're going, yeah, when things go bad, these things go up, and then, the price of raw land or even homes and stuff, plummet. Now, keep in mind, in 2011, when the prices of homes in Arizona that hit a low, it was 40% what it was at the peak just a few years before. Are we going to do that again? Is it going to go 20%? Is inflation going to hit? Well, if you got inflation, well, then what do? You get stuff that, inflation doesn't hit. It's not like your silver being worth $60 an ounce is, really indicative of anything other than the money is crap. So will prices, hyperinflation hit? Will it go up? And will some commodities and things of value like land, go down? One thing that, we just kind of keep track of is investments in antique cars. And we had Barrett Jackson is in Scottsdale every year, and we used to, as journalists, we were on their list of whatever, and the owner of, I can't remember his name, the owner of Barrett Jackson, he would come on. I had his mother on before, and we'd talk about it, over several years. And when I was on Terran Radio, we would, advertise for him and everything, and we kept the relationships. We have him come on Declare Your Independence show and our studios and everything. We have a lot of fun. And I tell you, when things are bad, automobile prices, these classic cars, they shoot up. And a lot of people, they've been taking their dollars and converting them into something of value. But cars, you gotta have a warehouse, or you find this old Lamborghini in somebody's barn or something, And what takes a lot less effort to hold? Gold. Yeah, I'm thinking, silver is, I think, going to shoot up a lot more, but it takes up a hell of a lot more space. We're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing with our resources. What are we going to be doing? And in the second hour, when we come back, I'll tell you who we're going to have on. It's going to be another great show. We may have a great show. We understand what's coming. What are you going to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you going to be regretful that you didn't do something? We're going to talk about what to do. From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Okay, regret. You know, wow, what a powerful emotion. You know, just to feel it. Can you know, there's things that still pop in my head I did in, high school, just the way something I said or the way I treated someone or a lot of times, the way I was treated, somebody was bullied or mean or something happened. You just kind of, those things don't even register anymore. I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure it has impact a lot of people. The only thing that, I kind of get twinge on or grit my teeth or, oh man, that was a stupid or anything to do. And these are the things that I try to avoid. And if you're worrying about something, it means you need to do something. To me, I equate worry with a call to action to something. So I don't worry anymore. And my big motivation, big motivation is sleep. You don't want to sit there staring at the ceiling, worrying about that's good. You make love to your spouse. You relax. You watch some YouTubes on them restoring the old World War I lighters or something. I mean, the things that you watch. I haven't even watched that many movies. We have thousands of movies available. You got them online. We got a couple terabytes worth of stuff that friends have gotten for us, and it's just and maybe we'll start a series, but we're busy. We got stuff to do. We don't want to have any dying with regret. One of the things is what a lot of us have always wanted is to have security. Women want security. They want the nest. You give a nice, warm, comfortable bed with, I got, some water and food, and you're good. That a lot of people, that's their, they're satisfied. You got an old guy living out in the lone prairie, prospecting in his cabin of him and his donkey. How happiness is a subjective thing. You can't be happy. You don't have a microwave. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm healthier, So it's subjective, and that's what pursuit of happiness means. When the declaration, any government is, protect life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. My pursuit of happiness. What is that? I don't know. But whatever somebody out there pursuing happiness, hey, you're not allowed. This is so. Whenever you find it, you want to highlight it. You want to emphasize it and be an inspiration. Well, what we're looking to do is just as the plan. We need to alleviate all debt. We need to get small. We need to, cover what's happening. We want to get out on, because I know that's where the real stories are. We're out. Yesterday's show was awesome. Melody Krell, she came on the second hour, stayed through the third with the Trump Report with Dr. Frank, and then we went another hour or two. I mean, it was like a 4-hour show, and that is going to be very popular. And she had a good time. She emailed, and, she really enjoyed it. Because there's, not that many people that, if they do want to talk about it, they don't know anything about it, and they can't add to the conversation, or they're not really understanding the importance of, who they, them, those are, and what their mission is, and how, and all that. And I'm just like, yep, you came to the right place. So, now that we have Sierra's doing the social media and so on, we're on everybody's target, list now. And I'm like, duh. So, but what do we see on Freedom's Phoenix? Here we got the Dan Dix Complete Press for Truth on IPFS through 12 July 2020. All right, so let's go up there and see what's up. So Mike Swatek that we had on the show, he's the PPS silvercosmetics.com. He sells a silver cosmetic, which is medicine. We got silver everything. Colloidal silver for spray so you don't get sick, a sore throat. Silver colloidal lotions and lip balm and everything. It takes care of a bunch of stuff. So silver is going to be a big thing in the health. It always has been. A lot of people know it, and they try and beat it down because the bottom line of big pharma. All these institutions, all these certifications, and all these truth checker sites and everything. You look and it's they, them, those. And if they're not doing it, they're